What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast. Hi, Steimer.
Hey.
I just saw that you were waving. I just wanted to wave back.
I was doing it on the beat of when you were saying the words. You were like, "What's good games?" And I was doing like a little hand gesturing thing with it.
You're a cheerleader.
Yeah, kind of. A very quiet cheerleader.
She's cheerleading, of course, because this is your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. I'm Andrea Renee. Of course, Miss Christine Steimer is here.
Yes.
As is Miss Brittany Miss. Sorry. Listen, it's been a week, okay? Can't you tell I have like raspy CES voice? Brittany Brombacher is here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How
Oh God, it's good. We've been troubleshooting for like the past hour,
It's
so
true.
we're already primed and ready to go.
Yes.
It's true. Listen, the new studio is really fun, but turns out we still got some kinks to work out, some equipment to buy and things to do, which, you know, will happen over the next couple of weeks. But we're going to get it together. We do want to give a big thank you to everybody who reached out to us and gave us words of encouragement. So many of you said that you loved the new look and that you loved the studio, and we're so happy to hear that. And so many of you decided to become part of our Patreon community. Wow, what an amazing influx of new patrons. We're going to read those names in just a second. But Brittany, would you like to handle the announcements?
I would absolutely love to do that, Andrea Bernoy. Okay, so if you head over to patreon.com/whatsgoodgames right now, you will see an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of Steimer, first and foremost, eating cheesecake. But
It was really good.
It's a tour of our studio. It was really fun. We shot this when we were all together a few weeks back, and it's available only to patrons at any level. And you can join our Patreon for just $2 a month. We'd love to have you. Come by, see the studio, see how it's all put together by duct tape, hopes, and dreams. Except for like the chair, the desk itself is the real official part. But we still have TVs and stuff propped up on little bins and whatnot. But I say that's part of our janky charm, and we should never change that. It's part of who we are. And next week, we have a special Life is Strange 2 spoiler classed. Yep. And an interview with... Who'd you talk to, Andrea? Someone amazing from Don't Nod?
Yeah, I talked to Michelle and Jean-Luc from the Don't Nod team, the co-creative directors of the game.
Yeah, so we've all finished Life is Strange 2. A lot of stuff went down.
About it.
Oh my God. I needed to eat a box of rainbows after I was done, but obviously we'll get into that later. But yeah, so those are our announcements. We have streams coming up sometime in a couple weeks, but we don't have those days nailed down yet. So stay tuned.
Yeah, there's a big event happening that we can't talk about, but they're changing some details, and they haven't gotten us the finalized details, and so we can't plan until we get those. But it's all going to be exciting when it comes together, everybody. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. That's
all right.
That's what we got going on.
That's
it's
it.
Real exciting.
And I was just on the PAX East website today, because I was talking about it with somebody, and there are still tickets available. And I just want to remind you that we're doing our East Coast
because nobody wants
meetup.
to go to Boston in February.
You're not wrong,
That
Steimer.
might have something to do with it, because normally PAX East does sell out like right away. And there are still 4-day tickets. Friday and Saturday tickets are sold out, individual days. Sunday tickets are still available, and there are still 4-day tickets available. So if you want to come see us in Boston, we will be there at the show. It's going to be great. But just as a friendly reminder, you do not need a PAX East badge to come to the meetup. We're still finalizing those details. Of course, it is more than a month away. But once we get a little bit closer, we will let you guys know all the stuff you need to know to come see us over in Boston. Okay. Let's talk about our awesome Patreon producers for the month of January. Chewy's Godson, Alex Rigopulos, Faris Attieh, Mohammed Mohammed, Marcus Brown, and Robert Adams. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And boy, do we have a whopper of a list of brand new people that are in the Patreon community. So as you guys may remember from a couple episodes back, we didn't get to read the names from the end of December. So we have those names, and then we have the wave of people that joined us in early January. So we're really excited that you guys are here. And thank you so much for supporting everything we do here at What's Good Games. Brittany, do you want to start?
I would. Tom Baumgart.
Cake Mike.
Bex Raymond.
Veneri Athena C. Ooh.
Johnny Wark.
Rafael Vieira Costa.
Jacob Ross.
Danielle Van Pelt.
German Ustares.
Jordan McConnell.
Nick DeMarco.
BJ Bernardo.
Annie Nitti.
Norman Steele.
Christian Nava.
Chip Bigelow.
DLIC underscore YMCMB32.
That's quite a name. Jeff Simmons.
Brandon Rosa.
Adrian Allen.
I'm Donovan.
Terrence.
Martin Murphy.
Drummond Digest.
Nick Mudry.
Mike Celesco.
Jesse Anderson.
Tyler Hodges.
Dilpan M.
Lance Gifford.
Chuck the Slice.
I like that.
I think William Gordon.
Travis Seiler.
Basilio J. Carmona.
Trevor Oz.
Kenneth Bailey.
Ibrahim Sozer.
Tara.
AJ Lira.
Tyler Floyd.
Talia? Is that Talia?
probably
Talia.
Talia,
Talia.
Alan Hopkins.
Mark Anthony Brown.
Big J and the BB Show.
The Streamin' Geek.
Kevin Prisnick.
Kendall Hackney.
John Liang.
Chris Stills.
Jamie Morgan.
Wesley.
Forget Mike.
Damn. Dean Redenbaugh.
Kevin.
Kelby Walker.
Cala del Giorno.
Randall Smith.
Jared Litticoat.
Albert Robles.
Brogan Chesterfield.
Gabe Alves.
Liquid Music Entertainment, yo. God, I love these names.
Madison Patrick.
Eric Rommel.
Nick Anderson.
Michael A. Catrino Jr.
Hans E. Cars Jr.
Patrick Drumel.
Eric Z.
Kevin.
Ian Sia.
Wait, was it Kevin
Scotty
in there earlier?
220. Yeah, there's two
Kevins.
just Kevins.
Okay. I apologize ahead of time. Mwachala Nyambu?
Sure. Howard A. Angel.
That's a nice meaty list, ladies.
It is a
It
meaty
is.
list indeed. So thank you to everybody who joined us again at patreon.com/games. If you guys want your name read, we give you guys a shout out the week that you join our Patreon. And of course, as we mentioned, we had to stack some names because of the holidays and not being able to shoot the weeks that you joined. But we're glad that you're here. We love you guys. And now, Brittany, you're going to talk about some podcast reviewers. So you guys might remember that we were doing a bit where we were reading these really funny, what we thought were funny, 1-star reviews people were leaving us in an effort to encourage you. If you cannot afford to support us at patreon.com, maybe support us by giving us some of your time and leaving us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform of choice. And Brittany, we've got some new folks that have done just that.
We do. We got Love Games 988363. We got Jedi Brat, Sasha McMurray, Jordan MF22, Podcasting Gem, and Bat Splatman. Thank you all so much for the lovely comments you left us.
I love that. Bat Splatman.
Oh, I know. I love that too. Bat Splatman.
Okay, now we're done reading names, I swear. And because we do have quite a bit of news to get into because it was CES this week. And we also had a Pokemon Direct. So let's get into it. This week, the news, of course, is brought to you by Honey. What is Honey, you might be asking? Well, let me give you some background. We all have been shopping online for quite a few years now. It's easy, it's convenient, and we love it. But sometimes you don't get the deals that you should be getting. Those coupon codes sometimes just are elusive. Why are they so hard to find anyway? You have to go to a bunch of different sites to find them. It's confusing. You get ones that don't work. But guess what? Honey thinks it shouldn't be that hard, and they're going to make it easy for you. Honey is the free online shopping tool that saves you money online. They automatically find you the best promo codes and apply them to your cart automatically, which makes online shopping finally feel as easy as it's supposed to be. So let's talk about shopping on some of your favorite sites. Things that you do online all the time. Target, Best Buy. If you're us, Sephora, Ulta, Macy's, eBay, Etsy, Walmart. I could just keep going. When you guys check out, you'll get a little drop-down box. And all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. It's super easy. You can just, if you're using Chrome like us, you can just install the Chrome extension. and then a little pops up and it's like, hey, Honey found all these codes for your shopping cart. And then within a few seconds, it'll run all of the promo codes for you. You don't even have to go searching for them yourself. And then, boom, watch the prices drop. So we have been shopping with Honey, and Brittany actually found kind of a whopper of a deal with one of the Honey promo codes.
See, ladies, there's this little franchise that you may or may not have heard of called Star Wars.
What is that?
Oh man. So, you know, with Jedi Fallen Order, I'm kind of like tapping into my inner Star Wars fangirl that's like been kind of hidden for a while. And there's this adorable Darth Vader halter dress on shopdisney.com. And it was originally, I have the price, $145.95.
Whoa.
And I was in check.
$145?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I guess
it's real nice.
Disney.
Mm-hmm. And I was getting ready to check out, and then Honey was like, yo, dog, we got 10 coupon codes that we can try to apply and see if we can save you any money. I said, all right. I hit go, and it went, and then ended up saving me $43.55.
Dang.
Nice.
That's like 30% off. That's huge.
It was, yeah, I'm saying it works.
That's
Especially, you know, you don't want to
awesome.
like, you know, you're saying the coupon codes are sometimes hidden up top, down below, or they're not even showing up at all. Ain't nobody got time to search for all of those, you know?
Yeah, before I installed the extension, I would always just like Google for coupon codes, but then there's like a bazillion sites and like so many of the codes don't work or you don't have the right item in your cart. It just gets annoying and then you end up just foregoing your search and like, I'm just going to pay what it is. But that's what's great about Honey. And Honey has found over 18 million members, over $2 billion in savings. That is a crazy amount of money saved. And did you guys know that Honey supports over 30,000 stores online and they're adding more every day? Users love Honey, and that's why it has over 100,000 5-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. That's a lot of 5-star reviews. That's hashtag goals for What's Good Games to get 100,000 5-star reviews. We'll catch up to you someday, Honey. If you guys want to save money, then you guys got to get Honey. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. It's free to use and it installs in just 2 clicks. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/whatsgood. That's joinhoney.com/whatsgood. And when you guys go to joinhoney.com/whatsgood, they have this Explore tab, which is really cool, that lets you see where some of the top sites have sales and deals going on. And so if you are browsing and you're bored at work one day and you want to go shopping, joinhoney.com/whatsgood. So CES is the Consumer Electronic Show. It is the largest tech show in the world. I don't have the final number, but it was interesting to me hearing the different cab drivers over the course of the week tell me just how many people were in Las Vegas for the show. It was almost like a fish story where it starts out and it's like, well, there's 100,000 people here. Well, I heard there's 165,000 people in town. No, there's 200,000. By the time I got to the end of the week, the last cab driver was like, I heard there's 275,000 people in town.
Oh my God, there's 1 million people.
Literally everybody in the world is in Vegas.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think the takeaway there is that it's a massive show and it's split over several different locations. It has 3 separate halls and outdoor areas at the Las Vegas Convention Center. It's got the entire Sands Expo in the Venetian. It's got the convention center at Mandalay Bay. Plus, they had a brand new sea space in the Aria this year. I mean, it was just like, there's just no way to physically see all of CES in a single week. And I didn't even attempt to. There were whole swaths of it that I just was like, I can't make it over there. It's too far away. I can't do it. But I did see a lot. But I wanted to start with some of the kind of headline news before I get into the specific things that I saw at CES. The news heard around the world happened during the PlayStation, or should I say the Sony keynote, because of course CES is all about Sony technology proper, their TVs, cameras, etc. But for us gamers, the PlayStation 5 logo was revealed.
Oh my God. So drastic. So groundbreaking. Really brave of PlayStation to go in such a different direction with their logo this time around. Like, mega props. No, it's actually funny is I'm pretty sure when we were talking about the rumors of PlayStation 5, I made that thumbnail. And all I did was like on Chrome, or not on Chrome. Well, yes, I guess technically. I searched PlayStation font, found it, and basically made the same logo that they have by just doing a PS and a 5. And I looked at it and I was like, this looks a little weird. The 5 in this font just looks kind of funny. Maybe they'll fix it for their logo. They didn't. It pretty much looks the same.
So I know it's funny. It's like, I understand too why you don't need to change anything about it, honestly. There's
just change the 5. Just make the 5 look a little nicer.
It's a little different.
I think the 5 looks a little funky. That is just me.
Okay, I'm going to look at it again. So yeah, I guess it wasn't too surprising that it is what it is. It's really not. But I think the funny part was that it was kind of like, boom, here's the logo.
Yeah, as if that like as if anybody was like champing at the bit. Like, I just need to know what this logo looks like.
Well, and the thing that was hilarious to me about it, because I tweeted that I was like, this is crazy to me that Jim Ryan is on stage at CES being like, now we're going to unveil our logo, because it was unveiled at the Game Awards in the trailer for Godfall, the new game.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And I'm just like, what you? I mean, you can't say you're unveiling the logo when you already unveiled it in a trailer. Like,
it's like
weeks
the most
ago.
non-news news. That was like when, okay, this is a real deep cut.
All right.
So sorry. If you're
let's
brand
go
new
there.
to this world, you won't know what I'm talking about. But several years ago when Mass Effect, was it 2 or 3? I don't remember. I think it was 2 maybe. Like, EA tried to say that the Game Awards was going to be announced like a new game from BioWare, and it was just the next Mass Effect. Again, I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 at this point. And then it was just Mass Effect. We're like, you already said it was going to be a trilogy. We already knew there was another one. We already knew this. You can't go out there and be like, oh, it's something new.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Kidding.
Okay.
It's something we already knew existed.
Well, at least they can officially say that that's their logo, and Sony officially said it. Unlike AMD, did you guys hear about this with the back of the Xbox Series X? It was going like viral on Twitter. It was like AMD had a presentation at CES, I suppose, and the back of the Xbox Series X was revealed, quote, air quotes here, and everyone's like, oh my god, look at the ports, look at this, look at that, oh. And then later, AMD came out and was like, actually, that was like a rendered image that we paid someone like $10 off of some website to put together or something like that. It's not even
Why did they do that?
They did. I'm not sure. I don't know if it was already an image that had already been put together and they just paid the $10 to have the rights to use it during the presentation. But yeah, they came out and they're like, actually, that's not an official back of the Xbox Series X. So
that's
awkward.
Really,
so
that's
I'm
really
looking
weird.
this up right now because I'm like, oh my god, wait, what? How did I miss this news?
I didn't see that either.
So according to CNET, it turns out AMD were not sourced from Microsoft. Initially spotted by GameSpot, the reveal shows off many of the ports one would expect on a 2020 flagship game console, including Ethernet optical out, 2 USB-C ports, and power. Also present are 2 HDMI ports, although what the second HDMI will be used for isn't known. But those images were not legitimate. They were not sourced from Microsoft and does not accurately represent the design or features of the upcoming console. They were taken from turbosquid.com.
yeah.
That's hilarious. Hilarious.
But like, why would Microsoft allow them to do that?
I don't think they
part.
knew. I'm
yeah.
guessing they probably were not aware that's going to happen.
I mean, this was making big news. It hit all the news sites, and then it kind of quietly broke that actually this isn't the case. And now stories are coming out with like what the actual back supposedly looks like according to sources and blah blah blah. Anyway.
It's gonna. I want to sit. I want to be a fly on the wall of that meeting. Where
could you imagine?
Where they have to apologize for like, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, bro.
Like the intern pulled an image off the website. We didn't know that he got it from Turbo Squid. Yeah,
it's a squid sound.
Gross.
Anyway, yeah,
hilarious. Okay, so that to me was like the non-news, even though it was, I think, probably the biggest headline. The biggest news for me that I thought was the most exciting was from Alienware, and they were showing off Concept UFO. So I had the opportunity to go to the Dell experience and get hands-on and actually play with Concept UFO. So if you guys missed the news, Concept UFO is essentially a portable PC gaming system. Yes, of course the Nintendo Switch comparisons are coming fast and furious. Like it's no doubt is absolutely inspired by Nintendo Switch.
When I was scrolling, oh sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
I was gonna say when I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw, I like was just briefly, I thought it was a mod for a Switch. Like I thought I was looking at some sort of weird like cover for it or something, because again I was like scrolling quickly and then I went back and I was like, wait, what?
Oh, this is
So
interesting.
yes, Andrea, tell me about your experience with this.
Yeah, so I first saw it obviously, in social media like a lot of you did, and I was like I have to go find this at the show, because they kind of stealth announced this thing. As far as I know from other press that I talked to, like no one really got a heads up that Alienware was going to be unveiling this.
I mean, nobody knows when a UFO is going to hit, Andrea.
I mean, true.
We knocked her off her rocker there.
Something that I think is important for people to remember about CES in particular, if you're not familiar with this show or don't watch a lot of coverage on it every year, is that there's a lot of prototypes that are unveiled at CES that never become real. Because CES is all about showing what tech is possible and then taking that tech and applying it to other types of tech. And that's so many different kinds of meetings and things that happen at CES are these companies coming together saying, well, hey, I built this piece of tech and you built that. What if we put them together and made something really cool? And like so money. There was a lot of people that I was chatting with that were like, is Concept UFO going to become a thing? So I chatted with the Alienware team that was on site about that. And of course, they were KGAF. Being like, well, we really want it to be a thing. Well, we don't have anything to announce at this time. We're really hoping to explore. And I was like, listen, that's all fine and dandy. But this prototype that we got to hold and play with felt like a real thing. It didn't feel like half baked. It didn't feel like, like they clearly had more work to do. Like it felt really nice. It was sleek. The color was great. The screen was really nice. The way that the handles, the controllers on the sides kind of like slide on, they're magnetic, so they kind of like when you slide them on, they kind of like shink and they just like hang on to
satisfying
the
click.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I was like, this is really nice. So it's bigger than a Nintendo Switch, which I like, because I think the Nintendo Switch screen is just too small and I would prefer something that a little bit bigger if I'm going to be gaming portably. The controllers are also bigger, which is also nice because I think the Joy-Cons are just too small as well. The joysticks have a thicker rubber lining around them, which I also think is better than a Nintendo Switch. But like, listen, this is not me digging on the Switch. I brought my Switch with, and I had a grand time playing Luigi's Mansion when I wasn't working and on the airplane and such. But I think what this is doing is just completely different. It serves a very different audience. First off, it's a full Windows PC built into this tablet, because essentially it's a glorified tablet, but it's not like a Surface. So I had asked him, I was like, it feels, just by looking at the interface, it feels more like a Surface than it does like an actual like PC. And he's like, no, it's much more powerful than that. They were not giving any specifications on the technology inside, except for the chipset, which was the thing that they were announcing at CES. Let me see if I have it written down in my notes somewhere, the actual name of the chip, in case anybody actually cares.
How do you have any weight differences for me? Like, how hefty was it compared to a Switch?
So it definitely felt heavier, but not a lot heavier. And they would not confirm what the weight of it was, and I didn't bring a scale with me. So, but also,
I mean, what were you thinking?
How dare you? We're professionals.
But also, like, here's the thing, because it's a prototype, there's things about that form factor that might change. The weight might change. The dimensions of the bezel or the screen might change, right? The layout of the buttons might be slightly different. I don't know. If you guys haven't seen photos of it, just imagine a Switch, but bigger and white. And the face buttons are black, but the buttons are in identical spots. So you've got the D-pad on the left and the buttons on the right, and then the
actual D-pad.
Yeah, it's a proper D-pad. The shoulder buttons felt really great. I thought because they were spaced a little bit wider apart than the Switch, that they were actually easier to shoot. So I played Halo, the Master Chief Collection, because that's on PC now, or has been, I should say. Played Halo on it. They also had Mortal Kombat 11. Screen looks great. I asked them for resolution and they wouldn't give it to me. But this Verge article says that it's a 1200p display. I asked about battery life because they're like, obviously it's a portable. Everyone's going to want to know how much of the battery life is. He's like, oh, we're not discussing that at this time. Like literally would not tell me anything that I wanted to know. Wouldn't talk about,
They're like, here
internal
this
storage.
is. That's all you get.
Yeah, they wouldn't talk about internal storage. They wouldn't talk about additional storage like SD cards or things like that. I asked about internet connectivity. I was like, what kind of Wi-Fi, antenna and receiver are we going to be working with? Is there going to be like an actual Ethernet port, so that if you dock this, you could hardwire it? Like literally would not tell me any of this stuff. So,
Of course.
but the cool thing about it is that it allows you to have your full PC gaming library, whether you're playing on Epic Game Store, GOG, Steam, whatever your PC platform of choice is, you can play literally your entire library on this device, either on the go or at home. You can dock it. You can use it with a mouse and keyboard, or you can use it with any Bluetooth compatible controller. I was just like, my mind was like super blown, you guys. It was really cool.
It looks really cool, and this is something I would 100% love to have. But yeah, like you said, it's just a matter of, is it going to happen?
Is it going to be a real boy?
Is it going to be a real boy someday? I mean, I hope so. It sounds like this isn't made for multiplayer in the sense like the Switch is, right? Where the Switch is like, use a Joy-Con each and you can play games together.
Oh, yeah. No, you can. Yeah, he said you can connect multiple Bluetooth controllers.
Okay, Okay, that's fair.
It's just a PC.
I mean,
it's just a little PC.
but because
everything is just a PC. I actually get it when people everything is like a modified version of a computer.
Right, but remember, this is Alienware, right? So they're known for making really powerful gaming laptops. So they are all about creating technology that's about sleek form factor. Are you okay over there?
Oh, yeah. I just ate a dog hair, and it was, like, stuck between my teeth and my lip, and so I was trying to get it out.
Just floss with it.
Unpleasant.
Well.
And their whole thing was, listen, we're not trying to be a Switch killer. Switch very clearly is targeting a casual, family-friendly audience.
So. Yeah.
They're like, we are all about powerful PC gaming. This is being designed from the ground up as a gaming machine. And we want people who like gaming on their PC to have that portability factor and be able to take their games on the go. And that to me is exciting because that is one of the biggest downfalls of the Nintendo Switch is that they are handcuffed by their technology. They can't really push the boundaries of what's capable or what's possible with software on that platform because their hardware just isn't beefy enough. And Alienware knows how to make beefy gaming hardware. And so if they can really make this a thing, it would be really cool. And I was like, dude, so can we talk like what you're thinking for MSRP? And he's like, no.
I mean, of course, especially if they haven't finalized the internals of it,
Of course.
But I imagine it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
Which is also why they'll never be a Switch killer. Like, because, this is for a much different audience.
Well,
this is like for my dad, who very rarely buys
take Nintendo
things
down. Nintendo has too much good shit. Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
It is. I actually really like the design of it. I think it's really beautiful. Just even when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, that's a very." Again, when I thought it was a Switch mod, I was like, "Ooh, that's a cool Switch cover."
Is this a Switch Pro that's been rumored?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, "Ooh," and then I was like, "Oh, it's Alienware. Oh, it's pretty. I like."
Yeah, I think what's really cool about the concept of the idea of Concept UFO is that because it's a full Windows PC, it's really going to be targeted at people who travel for business or travel for work, or maybe even for students who want to maybe have a combo device to say, hey, I'm going to buy the Concept UFO. I'm going to have a mouse and keyboard like back in my dorm room, or in my apartment or whatever. And then I can plug my Concept UFO into my monitor when I'm at my desk and actually like use it as a computer. And then when I'm like traveling or I'm like, on campus or whatever, I have my thing, I can take it on the go. I mean, and that applies to literally anybody who games on PC and wants to have a dual device. Because now, I
guess I would wonder why you wouldn't just get one of their laptops though.
It's smaller, probably going to be cheaper, I would guess, because the screen isn't as big.
That's true.
Yeah, I have a few Alienware laptops, or I've had a few in my day. And I know they make them a lot thinner now, but I kind of got it for that same idea. Like, I can lug this thing around and play games on it. But after, like, seeing the light of the way that is the Switch, I would 100% go for that every time. So
yeah,
I'm
that's
looking.
true. But
Okay, so I was looking at this article from TechSpot, and it looks like on the back there's 3 big panels. Like 3 are those buttons? Here, I'll take a picture. Are there like 3? Oh God, what are the?
It looks
what are
like
the,
just their bezel. Like they're little like hexagons.
Yeah, that. I was like, what are the shapes? Okay, because I'm wondering, if this is a PC, then obviously the PC games have to be built to use with a controller, right? Because that's kind of how you're playing this thing. So I was wondering if they had any extra like nipples like the Steam controller had.
Not that I noticed. And I'm actually glad for that. But just as a reminder, like you can absolutely connect mouse and keyboard, Bluetooth mouse and keyboard to this. But clearly it's designed to be played with the gamepad that's there. And I really liked the little centerpiece that connects the 2 like Joy-Con like controllers together. Because let's be honest, Nintendo's like dog ear thing that they have going on, I think has always been not super awesome. What I liked about this is that is wider. So when you're holding them, it felt more like a traditional controller size than kind of like the little mini narrow thing that holds the Nintendo Joy-Cons together. What is that thing called? Like the Joy-Con grip or something?
The weird peripheral that's easy to lose. That's what I call it. On this TechSpot article also, just for some comparison, the UFO will ship with an 8-inch 1900 by 1200 display. And then the Switch is a 6-inch 1280 by 720p screen. So it is a beefier, sexier boy.
Yeah.
They say will ship as if they are 100% confirmed to be shipping.
Andrea,
out
I think
people.
you need to go back to our friends at Alienware and be like, we love you, but they needed to give you the scoop. Why are they giving TechSpot the scoop and not Andrea Renee of What's
Or
Good Games?
TechSpot is just assuming, not the screen, obviously the screen that seems pretty locked in.
In my defense, I wasn't there to get the scoop because I was there on like day 3 of CES. The scoop was already out. I was there to play with it. I was there to hold it, to look at it, to see what the screen looked like.
To love it and squeeze it and name it George.
Exactly. You guys know that What's Good Games is not super hard into hardware specifications. Like that's just not the kind of coverage that we do here. If you guys want to get like the nitty gritty on all of the like bullet point details on the hardware itself, there's a bazillion other hardware specialty sites that do that. But I asked the questions that I was curious about as a very casual PC gamer, right? Like it's no secret that What's Good Games is not a PC gaming outlet, right? We are predominantly console players. Obviously, Steimer being the hardest core of the PC players amongst us. And Brittany does play PC games too. Jeez. But like the thing I wanted to know was if this is going to target someone like me who's always wanted to get back into playing games on PC but hasn't because I don't want to be locked to my desktop. I want to know what the battery life is. I want to know how I can connect to the internet. I want to know what kind of controllers I can connect to it. I want to know how much it weighs, and I want to know how much it costs. Those are the things that matter to me. Also, I want to know what the internal storage is like and how many games I can download onto it. So, because like there was no talk, at least from my discussions with Alienware, on streaming, because I know that there's obviously other PC portables that are out now that do those kinds of streaming. There's, Shadowplay portables, there's Shield, there's other things that you can play PC games on the go with that are available right now today. But they don't have this form factor, and they're not made by Alienware. So not to say that they're going to be not relevant if this thing comes to light. I think competition is healthy for any space. But I think that this could really become successful if they nail the things that I just mentioned.
That's cool.
And it's
a cool device.
And I did see a really slick 500 gigabyte solid state drive from Samsung at the show that was super tiny. I was just like, this is the cool thing about CES and why I get so excited.
How tiny was it?
Like credit card size.
Ooh.
Yeah, an external hard drive, an external solid state drive.
Oh, man.
500 gigabytes credit card size.
Back in my day when we had, floppy disk is not the same thing as a
I was about to say,
drive,
it is so crazy to me that there are people now that exist that don't know what the save button is on most of your, like, when you go to click save a file. They don't know what a floppy disk is. They've never seen one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
because
God.
the icon is the floppy
Because
disk.
the icon is a floppy disk to save. And I'm like, and there's people who weren't alive when they were a thing.
Well, I mean, the floppy disk, though, to me was even a smaller form factor. When I think about external hard drives, I think about my old school Lacey drives that were like the size of a Bible. They were gigantic,
Oh, yeah. I had a Seagate like that.
right? I mean, they were
yeah.
huge.
I still have that bad boy.
Yeah, I remember laser discs. Whatever happened to laser discs?
Back in our day.
Back in our day with the old technology that was basically outdated as soon as it came to be.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Okay, so I don't want to. We've already talked about it. It was cool. That was to me like the coolest thing that I saw at CES. But I did get to see a bunch of other things from some other folks as well. Logitech was there. They had a pretty big presence. As you guys know, we ran a really awesome sponsorship with Logitech last month. So I wanted to stop by and say hi to those folks. And Meg Cayley was hosting their live stream during CES. I wanted to say hi to her. And they were showing off their accessibility accessories that go with the Xbox One adaptive controller. And I hadn't seen these before, and I didn't know that Logitech was doing them. And I thought it was really neat that Logitech saw what Microsoft was doing with the adaptive controller and said, hey, we want to get in and help as well. We want to make things more accessible. So if you guys aren't familiar with how the adaptive controller works, in addition to having the touchpads and specific buttons on the face, they have a row of specialty connectors on the back, which allows people to connect specific types of adapters that they use to map to specific buttons, because obviously everybody's accessibility needs are different. And so what Logitech did was they created an adaptability kit that allows you to take specific kinds of switches and knobs and connect them to the accessibility controller, and to do it for a price that was way more affordable than accessibility controllers ever used to be. So I'm just confirming so it's a collection of 12 buttons and triggers, and they go into the 3.5 millimeter jacks in the back. And so there are a bunch of different sizes and colors, shapes designed to be used with your head, your face, your arms, your fingers, your toes, whatever you use to game with. And the whole thing, the whole kit is $99, which is amazing, because some of these individual triggers used to cost hundreds of dollars a piece for like a single one. And I was talking to Logitech about it, and they said, actually, we don't make money on this kit, because that's not what the point is. The point is we want people to be able to have accessibility. We want people to be able to play games. And so we wanted to work with our partners at Xbox to make it even more affordable. I think he said collectively, if you were to buy all of these individual buttons and triggers separately, would be like over $1,500.
Holy
Oh my
shit.
God.
Which is crazy. So
Wow.
that was really awesome. So I wanted to give a shout out to Logitech for, taking a step into the accessibility realm and saying, hey, we want to help. We want to make games for everybody. So I thought that was really
Is
cool.
there
really
a
cool.
release date on that? When it's coming out?
So you can actually get the bundle now. It used to be priced higher. I think he said it used to be priced at $149, and they dropped the button or the price. So I'm looking on. So it's called the Adaptive Gaming Kit is the official name. And let me see if I add it to my cart here. Yep, you can buy it right now for $99.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty
Good
cool.
job, Logitech.
So let's see here. Yeah, they have a bunch of different stuff you can get. It says 4 light touch buttons, 2 variable triggers, 3 small buttons, and 3 large buttons. Okay. Other things I saw at CES. Well, where do I start? Gosh, there was so much. One of the cool things about CES is the automotive industry really comes out in force to show the latest and greatest in what's happening in automotive tech. Now, while a lot of people were talking about Sony's electric car, I actually didn't go over to take a look at it because I think electric cars are cool, but so much of the automotive is concept. And I was like, if I'm going to look at a concept car, I want to look at like one of the wildest concept cars. And so I went to see the LG connected car. If you guys were watching any of my Instagram stories, you might have seen me in the LG connected car. And essentially, it's an autonomous car, completely autonomous. There's like no steering wheel or anything. And it's like being in like a train car almost, but like really fancy. And there's really pretty screens everywhere. So there's 4 seats. There's 2 across from each other. And then there's these really fancy armrests that you can lift out to make an additional 1 seat on each side. So it could seat 6 total. But the final design will be modular. But what I thought was really neat about it is essentially like a mini shuttle. And they had a compartment where you could put a suit jacket and it would steam your suit jacket while you're in the car. They had a little snack drawer where you hit the button, the snack drawer like rolls out and you can like pick what you want. And it would like charge you like individual prices, almost like a mini bar.
Weird.
Yeah, and then they have screens on both sides, and so people on both sides can watch different screens, and they offset the chairs so that you're not awkwardly staring directly into the person across from you, because if you've ever been on a train or a bus where they have seats that face each other and it's somebody you don't know, it can sometimes get a little weird.
Yeah, that's true.
So they offset the chairs just slightly so you're never staring directly at anybody. I was like, that's a really interesting little touch. But the whole thing was just wild because it really made me feel like, oh my God, it's like 2020, you guys. Freaking 2020.
Gosh.
For all the Jetsons.
I don't want to think about it, to be quite honest with you.
It was like really neat. It was just a really cool thing because normally I don't get the opportunity to go see that kind of stuff. So shout out to Dally for letting me come by and see the connected car. It was really neat. I thought it was fun. They also had a bunch of robots on display. Robotics has been a big thing at CES for probably the last like 5 to 10 years. But now it's all about like robots like that help you around the house, robots that make you coffee, robots that make ramen, pet robots.
I want that one.
Has
Get
no
that
one played
robot at my house?
Detroit Become Human? This will not end well. Don't do this.
I mean, you have to treat them well.
Yeah, but people are garbage, Steimer, and they don't.
I know, but I'm saying you could be one of the people who lives because you were nice to the robots. Yeah.
But Brittany, did you
Actually,
see
it's not
the
a bad
robot
idea.
that brought you toilet paper?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Wait,
I mean, that robot would be your best friend.
Wait, what?
So it's this little robot. So it was from the folks at Charmin, and they were inside, I think, the PG&E Life Studio, I think it was called. And I was at PepCom, and I saw the Charmin folks there, and I was like, "What are you guys doing here?" And they're like, "Oh, we have a little robot that brings you toilet paper when he's like, never run out of toilet paper again."
Oh my God.
And it's this little robot that has toilet paper on it. It's got the little Charmin bear face on it.
Okay, see, I can't have a face because that's where I would draw the line. Like, excuse me, I've done my business. I'm sitting on the pot. Here comes this little Charmin face, like, to wield toilet paper to me.
A little bear is like, "Hello, would you like some toilet paper?"
And I just have to throw a bag over its face because I don't want to make eye contact with it. That would be terrifying. Yeah, okay, well, hey. You know what? Maybe robots are the future after all.
I mean, I hope not.
They kind of freak me out. Ever since I was a little girl and a little robot toy I had turned on and like started playing by itself, I've kind of been like not in that circle. But that's okay. I'm traumatized.
I think
It was like one of those little toys in a walker, little babies in a walker, and it like came around the corner going. And
that
sounds
alone
terrifying.
is a terrifying image.
I was
Yeah,
probably
I
3
feel like
and it's
it
still
could be a
burned in
horror
my
movie.
head. Yeah, it was bad. And I see too many horror movies. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot. I mean, obviously there was a lot of hardware stuff. You know, NVIDIA has some new G-Sync monitors. AMD had a bunch of stuff that they were showcasing. MSI had a new laptop. I mean, Microsoft was noticeably absent when it comes to gaming tech. But they kind of were in a bunch of other people's booths with Xbox technology. But like Origin had the Big O, which is this giant gaming tower that has a PS4 and an Xbox One built into the tower. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was like
It's
I was like,
in the
whoa.
computer.
It was crazy.
So
But-
Andrea, speaking like related to what Brittany was talking about, what
Okay.
was the most terrifying piece of technology you saw?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, terrifying piece of technology.
Yeah, can you think of anything where you saw it and you were like, "This is
Nope.
freaky. I don't like it."
Yes. So there was a
I knew it.
Yeah, there was a holographics company that does custom holographics that work with smart technology that does like facial recognition. So it literally was like that scene from Minority Report where he like walks into the mall and they're like, oh, we recognize you. And like the virtual person like pops up and is like, why don't you go to this store or whatever? Like there was a company showcasing holographic technology that can do that. And I was like, nope.
That's a giant no thank you. Please never release this.
I
This
mean,
can stay in Vegas.
the smart home stuff was really wild this year because it was a gigantic portion of CES. And I am so on the fence because I have a lot of smart home stuff in my house right now. But like, it kind of makes you go, wait, do we really want this? Are we sure this is right? I was talking to a friend of mine because she was asking me about all the smart home stuff we have. She was like, I'm thinking about, converting some of my house to smart home and doing all of that. And I was like, we're in a precarious spot where voice activation and voice recognition, which a lot of smart home capabilities are built on, isn't quite where it needs to be. And so when I ask Alexa or Echo or Siri or Google or whatever for something, it doesn't work most of the time. Most of the time, it just doesn't work. But the only way it's going to get to work is if they listen to your voice recordings and they analyze them. But then you know that somebody is listening to your voice and analyzing it. And there's been so many stories lately of data breaches and security breaches of internal employees misusing recordings from customers that are supposed to be used for research and development. Ring just had a big story about it a couple of days ago about how internal employees were going against policy looking at people's private videos. And it's just like,
Cool.
Honestly, nothing is smart in my house. I don't want it to
Except
be.
for you.
Thank you. But like, I want everything to be dumb. I don't think there's ever going to be a
You want a
time.
dumb home.
I want the stupidest house on the block.
she wants an analog house. Analog.
I do. I really do. Because honestly, it's because of mostly safety, because a lot of these companies are tech companies aiming to solve a problem that they see. However, a lot of them don't end up doing a lot of the security research that they need to do in order to make sure that it is safe and that someone can't easily hack into it, because there's so much social engineering, or even just not even the level of social engineering that you need to do sometimes, like where you call fucking Pizza Hut and you figure out a password somehow. Like not even that level, just like some easy ass bullshit for a random criminal to come and unlock your door. And I'm like, no, they need to at least pick a lock for me. I'm sorry. You need to put forth some physical effort to break into my house and steal my shit. You need to break a window. You need to pick a lock. You need to force the door. You need to do something. I'm not allowing you to use some weird voice recording and somehow get into my house. Not happening.
Wasn't it around Christmas time where some dude hacked into a camera? I think it was a baby camera or something, and he was talking to that little girl. See, that shit freaks me out.
That's also creepy. It's super creepy. Yeah, I mean, like, even this webcam, I have a little thing. I'm like, no, you go away. You go to sleep. I don't want to fucking see you.
Yeah, I just remember, if you guys watched the last season of Silicon Valley, there was like a whole narrative thread about how one of the guys at this company was illegally recording people from their gaming headset mics. Like, he ran this gaming website, and whenever people would leave their gaming headsets connected to their computers or their consoles, they would just record whatever was on the mics.
Oh, gosh.
And then they used it to like create like algorithms to do sales tracking for keyword pickup and blah, 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 blah. And after I watched that episode of Silicon Valley, I was like, do I have to unplug literally everything that has a microphone in this house? Because there's a lot of microphones in my house. And I was like, no, it's all futile because I have a microphone on my phone, and I'm not going to disable the microphone on my phone. That's the whole reason you have a phone.
Is to talk to people.
So I'm like, it's futile.
Although
They just know everything.
I mean, actually, you do call me. But for the most part, I feel like I could get away with having my microphone disabled on my phone, because it's usually a texting device, and that is it.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so
I call you. I call my mom. Call my aunt. That's about it.
So that was the kind of like to me, like the big brother part about CES that gets bigger and bigger every year. I walked by the booth for the FBI multiple times because the FBI had a booth set up at CES. Yes.
What do they have?
The whole point
Were
of their,
they female body inspectors or were they the
Oh,
actual
girl,
FBI?
that was a 90s joke. I loved it. I remember.
props. Also,
Yep.
I roll, but I love you. No, it was the Federal Bureau of Investigation from the United States government. They were there to create an opportunity and open lines of communication with businesses that wanted to talk about like global enterprise solutions. To be like, hey, like how can the FBI help you protect your business, help you protect, your consumers and your clients? Because let's be honest, if there's some kind of major breach, whether it be like a hack or security or whatever, the FBI is going to get involved. So maybe if you talk to the FBI first and say, hey, how can we prevent some kind of massive security breach from happening with our tech company by learning from all these other breaches that have happened that the FBI has obviously investigated and been involved with. That's why they were there. But I was just like, it's still weird that the FBI is just like creeping on CES.
Yeah.
I mean, they should.
Yes,
I feel like they were probably fed up, and they were like, you know
I see
what
what you did there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
That was good.
and they decided that they may as well just take matters into their own hands and show up where all the tech nerds were that aren't thinking about security and be like, yo, we're here in our blue vests. Pay us some respect. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, listen, I could keep talking, and I'm going to save my HBO Westworld dinner for the second segment because I haven't played much. But I went to this amazing, mind-boggling, like, kind of like difficult to describe experience that HBO invited me to, and we'll talk about it more in the second segment. But I know Brittany is champing at the bit to talk about this Pokemon news.
Steimer, can you read this?
Yes, I can.
I just want to listen to your sweet, silky voice.
There's a lot of fun Pokemon stuff that I'm about to read. So put your pants on.
Oh, no.
And I don't know where we're going, but you might need them. Okay, so Pokemon Sword and Shield expansions add over 200 existing Pokemon. Unlike previous games in the series, Pokemon Sword and Shield won't be getting a new version of the game a year later with an extra adjective. Instead, Pokemon Sword Expansion Pass and Shield Expansion Pass, DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield, will allow you to play new stories in Galar using the save data and pocket monsters you already have. They'll also be bringing over 200 existing Pokemon to the games. So fun fact, apparently last time on the podcast, I don't remember which one it was, one of the ones we recorded over break, I accidentally said Galaga region instead of Galar region, and someone tweeted it at me, and I was like, oh, I'm stupid, but I think also I had been drinking, so whatever. Anyways, the first of these new stories are called The Isle of Armor, coming in June 2020, and Crown Tundra, coming in fall 2020. The Isle of Armor will feature new clothes, hell yeah, rivals, and Pokemon previously unseen in the Galar region as well, like the legendary Pokemon Kubfu.
Cubfu.
Kubfu.
Cubfu.
I'm calling it Kubfu.
You live your best life, Steimer.
Kubfu, is it a panda bear?
Kind of.
Okay. And your starter will be able to Gigantamax. There are also what appear to be Gigantamax forms of evolved Generation 1 starters, Venusaur and Blastoise. Good news for fans who were bummed that only Charizard was available. Mm-hmm. The Crown Tundra takes a place in a remote, frozen outpost and is focused on exploration. It's further out than the Isle of Armor, but we do know that it comes with a legendary Pokemon, Calyrex, and a new form of co-op play where players can explore Pokemon dens with other players. Both of these new stories will be on seamless maps like the Wild Area in Pokemon Sword and Shield, though Game Freak said on the Nintendo Direct that they'll be bigger with more to do. You can buy both expansion passes now on the Nintendo eShop if you just really got like a stick up your butt about it and you really want it. And they go for $30.
Is that what happens? People get sticks up their ass and they're like, oh my god,
and they're like,
stick up my ass. I have to buy Pokemon.
I have to buy it. I know that's not the correct. I think it was a bug up your ass. It's a bug up your ass.
I mean, or stick.
Or a hair up your ass.
Wait,
I don't remember.
How does a bug? No. Oh, how does any of these things get in your ass? Is really the question.
Do you remember that
anything
person
get in your ass in general?
No. Remember that person who was sunning themselves by like getting sun on their butt? Remember that? Don't you remember that
No,
person?
I don't.
Yeah, we talked about. Oh, you wouldn't remember, Steimer. You don't remember anything we talk about on this goddamn
correct.
show.
My
No,
memory is
anyway.
better than that.
There was a person who was like absorbing the sun by going on a rock in Arizona. And think it's,
yes.
That's how bugs and sticks get in your ass, ladies and gentlemen.
That
okay,
is very
Pokemon.
true. All right.
Okay.
So,
All
yeah,
right.
how do you feel about these expansion passes that are $30 each?
I think it's really cool. I'm very excited about it, and it's fun because typically, like this article said, it's like Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Pokemon Yellow, which was like a play off Pokemon Red and Blue back in the day, which were entire new games, and they would have maybe a few new locations to look at, maybe a new gym, a little bit of post game expansion, but this is actual DLC where you get to take all of your little pocket monsters and explore all the new places with them, which is really neat. So I have some Britt notes here. I'm just going to go down them. It's going to get real nerdy, but I know there's like at least 10 of you out there who will appreciate it. Steimer will appreciate this. Andrea, just have a drink or something. Okay, so we got the Gigantamaxes of Venusaur and Blastoise. So Venusaur has like these cool like pink petals that hang all around him, and he has like this umbrella Ella thing over him, and then he has a little chimney, and then there's a little Gigantamax clouds like going above his chimney, and it's really cool. And then you got Blastoise, who has this armored shell with like these mini little cannons sticking out of it, and I think it's about goddamn time they're in this game, because I understand Charizard is like the iconic Pokemon of Gen 1, but
you need to like pay respects to the other two.
That's what I'm saying. And, all that controversy of, where are the other Pokemon? Why aren't you adding more Pokemon? They're difficult to animate, blah, blah, blah. It kind of sounds like Game Freak had this up their sleeves, but of course they probably couldn't talk about it at the time. But the fact that we are getting 200 additional Pokemon is really exciting. I think the Galar region Pokedex is like, 500 right now? Hold on, I'm looking it up.
I don't know.
But
I know the Galaga region is
the Galaga.
There's just too many. There's too many Pokemon.
It's a lot. It's a lot to digest.
It is a lot. Okay, so I'm scrolling down to the very bottom. Don't you hate it when you're trying to scroll to the bottom of a website, but all these photos keep popping up?
Chink. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
Knocks you back
400.
up.
It looks like it's 400, and then it looks like they've already updated.
600.
So yeah, the fact that you're getting 50% of the amount is like pretty exciting. I think that's a lot of content. And then our 3 starters get Gigantamax forms also, which is kind of frustrating that they didn't have that in the original game, because you'd be in those gym battles and then the weird like cupcake Pokemon would turn into a cake Pokemon. And you're like, well, why can't my Pokemon do something
now
cool
I want
too?
cake.
I know, it's how it goes. So my boy Sobble, who turns into Inteleon, actually gets like a legit sniper rifle, which I think is fucking awesome.
Wait, there's guns in Pokemon?
It's like a water gun, but it's made to look like a sniper rifle. So, little boy Sobble, he's like this meek little water Pokemon. And then he grows up.
Cries.
He grows
up. And then he grows up to be a sniper.
Yeah, he's like this like agent almost.
Something went seriously wrong in Sobble's life.
I mean,
well, listen, he had a rough childhood. I don't know. He needed someone to talk to. I don't know what's going on with his life. But he evolves, and now he's like this super agent. And then his main attack was like a jet of water that came out of his hand, but now he gets almost like a sniper stand, and then on top he has his water gun, and he like gets to shoot people with it, and it's just water. It's Pokemon. No one actually gets hurt in this game. Well, I guess Pokemon do because they faint.
Everybody faints, but that's it.
Rillaboom gets a huge like drum set. He's like a member of like AC/DC or some shit, and then Cinderace, he gets really big ears. This is your boy Steimer, and then he gets to stand on a big ball of fire.
Nice.
Thought you'd appreciate
Great balls of fire.
Yeah. Okay, so the Isle of Armor, or Amor, which is not it at all, but I like to pretend like I'm fancy. So the theme of this expansion is growth, and it's full of beautiful nature, beaches, bogs, forests, caves, and dunes.
Bogs? Bogs is not a beautiful nature. Bogs are the places nobody wants to go.
I know, that's kind of what I thought too. But everything they showed was all like beautiful and beachy, and they're like, bugs.
Like the bog of eternal stench.
I thought that's where I thought bogs were where monsters hung out. Anywho, so there's a dojo there.
Hang out.
Yeah, right. There's a dojo there
isn't this
for battles.
just full of pocket monsters?
Oh, toss a coin to your witcher.
You know what, Andrea? When you come through.
Thanks.
That was good. There's a dojo for battles, and it sounds like the story is you take the apprenticeship under the trainer who runs it, who is a former champion himself. His name is Mustard.
Okay.
He's an old man, and his name is Mustard. And if you are
Colonel
playing Pokemon
Mustard?
with the rusty pipe
in the library?
Yeah, in the library. Yeah. If you are playing Pokemon Sword, you get to train with a lady named Clara. She's poison type. She likes poison type Pokemon. She's not a Pokemon herself. That would be weird. But she's super cute. She has like this pink hair and this like cute bow and these cute little shoes. But if you play Shield, you get this kind of weird looking dude named Avery, and I don't know what's going on with him. He has like this top hat with these Pokeballs that are like orbiting it. And then he has the little ruffle thing on his neck. It's like called a cravat. I don't know what it is. And he wears like these weird ruffle socks, or he wears them, and he's kind of weird looking.
Yeah,
anyway.
I'm watching this video, this trailer. Yeah. I just saw this dude. Yeah, he's kind of freaky looking.
He creeps me out. I'm glad he won't be in my game. But if you do have Sword and Shield, there is an update right now that if you download it and you go to, I think it's the first train station in the game, your person that Clara or Avery will be there, and you get a chance to catch a Galarian Slowpoke, which is really cute. Okay, cool. And then you get the legendary Kubfu, as Steimer likes to call it, and you get that for a Mustard, and you want to evolve him, and he evolves into something called Urshifu, and he has 2 distinct fighting types. If you're interested, cool. So that's kind of all we know about Isle of Amur. And then we have the Crown Tundra, and this is the one I'm really excited about. The theme of this one is exploration, and it's this big, icy, frigid landscape with all of these mountains and these little villages. And there's temples and other weird things to uncover. It sounds like it's going to be some dungeon crawling, which I think would be really cool. But the thing I'm most excited about are the Pokemon dens. So right now, if you're playing Sword and Shield, you're wandering around the wild area. You see all the Pokemon dens. They're the little things in the ground with the big beams of light coming up. And then inside you fight the Dynamax Pokemon, and they're the big dudes. And that's it. Like, you're inside a Pokemon den is the idea. But with this, you actually get to explore the Pokemon dens with friends. It sounds like it's co-op, so I don't know how many people, but they're kind of like, it sounds like a raid, right? Like a legit raid where you're going through and fighting things and fighting the big boy at the end. And there's Gen 1 Pokemon in here and all the legendaries. So they showed Mewtwo, for example, which is really exciting.
Oh, Mewtwo.
I know. And you can actually catch them and bring them with you to your little party where you take them out of their natural habitat and shove them in a Pokeball and then send them off to like your PC somewhere.
And then make them go to your stupid camp and play with toys.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. Make them curry, which is great. And then the legendary for this one is a Pokemon called Calyrex. He's psychic in grass. He looks like a deer with a big green growth coming out of his head.
I would say he looks more like a rabbit. He looks like a rabbit,
I can see a rabbit,
but with more ears, and the ears are holding a pincushion.
Yes, that's a great explanation. And on his little, the things around his neck, they look like big green
He's got
pearls.
like a big Jingle Bell collar.
Yeah, and there's little Triforces on it. I think it's an alternative timeline where something goes fucking wrong with Zelda. Link gets turned into a Pokemon. Don't at me.
And this is the Pokemon. He also looks like he has wings of some kind.
See? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. He's kind of cool. Interesting.
Yeah, he's neat.
Yeah. So,
he's a big brain boy.
Big brain boy. Very, very smart Pokemon. That's kind of the gist of everything. Again, like the 200 Pokemon. So what's cool about this is even if you don't buy the expansions, you can still trade with people who have caught those Pokemon. If you want to, like complete your Pokedex, if you can find a really good friend who will catch you Pokemon and trade them to you for your meager Pokemon that you got.
You're like, please, alms for the poor.
Please. And Pokemon Home is coming in I think it was February 2020 was what I saw. And that's what's going to allow you to bring your Pokemon over from your other games. As long as they appear in Pokemon Sword and Shield in the expansion, you can bring those Pokemon over.
Come off the dead cartridge that you will never be played on. Come.
So it's interesting because each expansion is $30, and to me, I think it's more than worth it, the price point, because folks think that's too much, but these are also the same people who would buy like the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and the extra version of the game that came out later. And I don't know how much those went for. I mean, I don't know how much 3DS games were. I don't remember. It's been a while. But yeah, I think
your memory sucks too.
Steimer, I haven't bought a 3DS game in so fucking long. Anywho, yeah. So I mean, I personally think it's worth it. I can understand though why people would have that initial sticker shock of, oh my god, $30 on top of the $60 game.
It was $39.99 new MSRP, Brittany.
Okay, so it's just $20 more, and I can see, but I think Nintendo's still pretty new when it comes to releasing. I mean, they did some really cool stuff with Breath of the Wild, but releasing, big expansions and whatnot. And so I think people haven't quite built that trust up yet with them and be like, okay, if they're going to charge us $30 for something, it's going to be worth every penny. So we'll see when it comes out in June, the first expansion, but I think it's going to be worth it. I'm excited. The fact that these two areas are like wild areas is the really big selling point as well. So it's a lot of roaming, a lot of exploration, lots of fun Pokemon spawns to get all excited for and fight for. And let's go. Rah,
Let's go. Rah, rah, sis boom ba.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready for more Pokemon news?
No,
yeah, I don't really care about this one that much.
This is a short one, Andrea.
It's okay. I have nothing to say about this one. You'll be fine.
Yeah, this is just the news.
Yeah.
All right. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team Remake is coming to Switch in March. So, 2006 Pokemon roguelikes for the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team Blue and Red are getting a snazzy makeover for the Nintendo Switch. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX arrives on Switch March 6th with a demo available right now, I suppose. Mm-hmm. One of the best entries in Spike Chunsoft's long-running Mystery Dungeon series, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team casts the player as a human transformed into a pocket monster and cast into a world inhabited by Pokemon, a world the player must help save. The player and their partners explore dungeons one step at a time, enemies moving when they do in true roguelike fashion.
Cool.
Did you
It
ever
looks
play
really
this?
cute. I did not. Did you?
No, but I actually saw it and I thought it was interesting. So I am glad that they are bringing it to Switch.
Yeah, and the art style is really nice too.
The art style is always up my alley.
All right, time to talk about Andrea's next favorite topic, Final Fantasy 15.
Yay!
The game that will never die. So this comes from Kotaku. A new Final Fantasy 15 MMORPG for mobile is coming. Square Enix is teaming up with South Korean developer JSC Games and Chinese game maker Gaia Mobile to develop a Final Fantasy 15 massively multiplayer online role-playing game for mobile. Tentatively titled, Final Fantasy 15 Mobile, the game has been in the works for a few years. It's being developed with Unreal Engine 4 and will be published by Shanghai Oriental Pearl Group, Invin reports. According to Coulter, the upcoming game is set in a parallel Final Fantasy XV world that takes place right after Noctis begins his journey. The mobile game will feature new full-scale regions to explore. The developers say they hope to bring the original console experience's flashy action and graphics to mobile with touch-based controls. A trailer is expected during the first half of this year, along with concrete release details. According to Indwins, the game will be released in China first, and a global release is planned, apparently. So, where's my girl Alexa Ray when I need her? This is just, again, kind of confusing, kind of not surprising, kind of all of the above. I'm a mixed bag of emotion. So, Final Fantasy 15 obviously had a really weird post-launch DLC schedule. The game came out in November of 2016, and then for the next year, it kind of drip-dropped these little mini episodes featuring some of the main characters that completed the story, which is content that probably should have been, obviously included from the get-go. But hey, and then Comrades was announced, and then it was just kind of, why is this happening? And then the last 3 episodes, Aranea, Luna, and Noctis, were canceled because Hajime Tabata left Luminous Productions, who was working on the Final Fantasy 15 DLC, to go do his own thing, which is a really, really cool thing he's doing, by the way. So we got all that DLC canceled, which would have been more important to the game. But obviously, this is another developer making this. So, okay, I know Luminous is working on their own thing, and just a couple weeks ago, they talked about it and said it's like a really long ways away still, and they're still not talking about what it is exactly. Anywho, this game just won't go away. So I just wanted to give my Final Fantasy 15.
I mean, it's Final Fantasy.
It's
despite the name Final in the title, it will never go away.
It's true. It's true, Steimer. So now we're getting a Final Fantasy 15 MMO 3 years, almost 4 years. I don't know, 3 years. Math is hard. After. Yeah. Cool.
For mobile.
And it's going to China first.
I mean,
because that's who this is marketed for.
There are hundreds of millions of gamers in China. It's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Brittany, I'm ready for another more dancing. Or this is not that exciting to you. Or you like, I knew this was going to be happening. Abby.
Well, it kind of gets into some more interesting details.
Okay, so Capcom says nothing will stop Resident Evil 3 from launching in April. The Resident Evil 3 remake has an outrageously short marketing cycle, writes Destructoid. Announced less than a month ago, it's already releasing in early April. That's not changing come hell or high water, or giant scary-ass nemesis. In an interview with Famitsu, as reported by IGN, Capcom showed great confidence that Resident Evil 3 is making its April 3rd launch date. Producers Peter Fabiano and Masao Kawada said that there will be no delay, adding that the game is approximately 90% done at this point. In a separate interview with PlayStation Magazine UK, Capcom revealed a few more details about the remake. Mercenaries mode, which has a guns blazing race against the clock minigame unlocked by beating the campaign, will not return. Also omitted are the live-action choices during the cutscenes that influenced later events. However, there's confirmation that Carlos will be playable. There's also the interesting note that the Nemesis was seemingly motion captured, as Capcom created it in real life to be able to be scanned by photogrammetry. Yikes. You know that's going to show up at an event somewhere and be awful.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited.
Changes were expected, especially given that Capcom considers this sort of a remake and a remix at the same time. We'll see everything that's new and different on April 3rd. That date sounds pretty firm.
Firm like tofu. Is there going to be tofu in this game?
No, sadly. I don't think
Damn.
so. Can you tell that I pulled these news stories for this week's show?
Yes.
See
Yes, definitely.
Just
I
see
think
a
I
little
said that when we were trying to troubleshoot. I was like, is this just the Britney show?
I think it is.
Yes.
It's such a good week. I'm living my best life. Okay, so again, this is people who are casual Resident Evil fans won't give two flying shits about this, but for us nerdy folk, and I know you guys are out there because I read your comments all the time, interesting news. So there was a UK Resident Evil 3 interview in PlayStation Magazine, and there's just a little bit of tidbits that were included. So the first one is that you shouldn't, first of all, this came from Wolfie PL on Reddit, who put all this together, and then there's that article we just read. So you shouldn't expect an exploration of Raccoon City like an open world game, but there will be plenty of exploration in many areas of the city. Not too surprising. We knew that we were going to be able to experience new locations, as evidenced by some of the screenshots and some of the videos we saw, but still good to know that there's going to be more exploration, because this is kind of like our last real shot to get a real good look at Raccoon City before it, kind of goes poof. Very sad. Nemesis will use an improved version of the AI developed for the Tyrant of Resident Evil 2 Remake. So the thing about Nemesis is he could run really quick. He has a rocket launcher, and he's going to chase your ass up and down, left and right.
He has a rocket launcher? That's not fair.
I know, Steimer. I know. And I'm really curious how they're going to balance this and make it seem like there's that line of being scared and having like the anxiety, and then there's this is too fucking annoying.
That's when they're going to give me that $5 DLC that unlocks unlimited ammo, and I will be like, yes, this is the only way to play this game.
I hope they launch with that. I think that would be really cool. There's the mutant worms that are coming back, and this is a fight that Jill has in the game. They're called grave diggers. They kind of look like a penis and a vagina at the same time. I don't know how they did it, but they did. Look it up. It's a thing.
Grave diggers.
Digger.
Mutant
Resident Evil 3.
Worms.
Grave digger. Resident Evil 3. You have to make sure you get it when its mouth is closed.
God.
And when its mouth is open.
What the? How? What the?
It's a thing. Resident Evil, man.
Actually, it looks an awful lot like some of the Persona monsters.
Yeah. I mean, this one isn't as bad as that Persona one. It doesn't have all of the parts.
Yeah.
But obviously the big news out of this is that there's not going to be the action choice mechanism. And so what that means is throughout Resident Evil 3, there are a few moments where you have a few options and ways you want to interact with Nemesis. And those actions and choices ultimately lead to the ending that you would get. Now, the endings that you would get in Resident Evil 3, they're not crazy different. It's not like something we're used to seeing out of a BioWare game or something like that. The canon, the lore of Resident Evil 3 is kind of like set. There's not too much that kind of goes off the beaten path. So this is surprising. I think this was something that a lot of people are looking forward to, but it makes sense that, they might want to make just one canon ending. I feel like we see that happening with games, that are kind of like remastered or remade, and they have sequels. They're like, okay, this is the choice you're going to make, or this is a choice we're making. You can still make your choice in the old school one, but this is the canon way we're going. So it sounds like that's what's going on. And obviously no mercenaries mode. People are upset about that, but you are getting the Project Resistance mode, and that's probably why you're not getting mercenaries. There we go.
Cool. Gravediggers also kind of look like the worms and Tremors.
Ew, they do. That's a good
Yep.
movie, though. I love Tremors.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. Surprise.
What?
I mean, that's not surprising at all.
No.
Oh.
Surprise.
Okay, when you're here next, we'll watch it, Brittany. You'll love it.
Yeah, add it to the list.
Add it to the list. Tremors. All right.
All right.
Brittany has put some, in case you missed it, little tidbits here. I'll read the first one, and then there's one for each of us. So, you know,
Oh, perfect.
party all around. The Uncharted movie lost its 6th director. Travis Knight, who directed Bumblebee, is gone, supposedly due to scheduling conflicts with Tom Holland's Spider-Man obligations. You know, at this point, as much as I love Tom Holland, just fetch isn't going to happen. I don't know if this movie is going to make it. I don't know how many directors you can possibly go through.
I think this thing was first floated around in like 2007, 2008. It's been a hot minute.
2007 is when I graduated college.
Yeah. It's a
I
thing.
can't. That can't be right. 2007 can't be right.
I thought that's when it was first Uncharted film rumor. I mean, this isn't gonna give me tons of. With rumors dating to 2008. That's less than a year after
2008. Okay.
Uncharted. Anywho, yeah. So it'll be a thing. We'll see if this is actually going to happen. At this point, I don't know.
I
don't
can't
even know
believe
if it
that.
should.
Rumored. I've had a whole ass career in the time it has taken them to make nothing.
Pretty much.
That's insane.
So basically,
doing better.
it's like Final Fantasy.
Oh, what? So true.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And moving on, yet more rumors are swirling about a Nintendo Switch Pro console. This time, reports are coming from Taiwanese newspaper DigiTimes, which claims the new model will be released in mid-2020 and production will begin, quote, at the end of the first quarter 2020. The report states that Nintendo will release the model with a magnesium alloy body and an update to the CPU. And a Nintendo of America spokesperson told Polygon it, quote, has nothing to announce on this topic.
Of course not. That's Nintendo's.
course.
Yeah.
We don't comment on rumors or speculation. I
No.
used to dole that sentence out all the time when I worked in PR.
I'll believe
Yeah,
it when I see it. And lastly, via IGN, Respawn Entertainment CEO and co-founder will soon be taking on a new role under EA's umbrella as the head of DICE LA. The change will happen in 2020, and Zampella says a studio name change and unannounced game are already in the cards. Quote, under Zampella, there are plans to expand and launch an original, as yet unrevealed game, the LA Times reports. The company will remain separate from Respawn, and Zampella says likely will drop the DICE name. I think this is great news for DICE. I think that they definitely need some help because they just have too much work and not enough bodies. And EA wants to keep pumping games out, and they just can't because they just don't have enough people to make everything that EA is demanding. And clearly, Zampella has a long history working in the action and shooter space. So I think that he's a great pick. And he's riding on a high right now, coming off of Apex Legends and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order under Respawn. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
Yep.
And on that note, it's time to take our first break of the show. It's almost like we've done a full show already. OMG.
Yep.
But we've got lots more to talk about in the next segment. Plus, still to come, we've got your Patreon sponsored segments talking about our favorite games to play when we're drunk. Oh, it's going to be a fun one. Stick with us, everybody. We'll be right back. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the What's Good Games podcast. That's right. It's time for segment number 2. Brittany pounding that 5-hour energy.
Oh, boy.
Getting amped up.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be a late night. I have a
Oh,
feeling.
yes. Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, but you know what? It reminds me of our early days, Brittany. But we used to
Yeah?
have to be up until like 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out how to publish the show.
Oh, God, don't remind me. This is one of those traumatic things where you block out in your head. Your brain's like, nope, we're not going to remember this. And then you just reminded me. Because guess what? We're going to be doing that tonight.
Yeah. It's going to be just like old times. I love it. So why don't we talk about something fun, though, instead of something maybe a little taxing.
About our future.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I have been thoroughly enjoying the photos that you have been posting on social media, Brittany, of your adorably derpy dog, Reb, and how he just wants to play Nintendo Switch Ring Fit Adventure with you.
Yeah, he really wants to. The problem is he's such a fatty. He doesn't understand, like, there's no concept of personal space and no idea of how big he really is. I mean, I think all dogs are like this, right? And cats.
I mean, even when it's just an animal thing, because even Portillo, back in the day, if I would try and do any sort of exercise, he would just come sit on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
He's like, yeah, but why? But why? It's like, oh, you're sitting down. I want to join you. It's going to be great. Thanks for bringing all of your toys, Reb. Thanks for licking me. Thanks for sitting on me. Thanks for making me step on your hard bones that you bring in the carpet. It's great. So, yeah, I have been playing Ring Fit Adventure. And so for Christmas, I got Jason one, and then I got myself one. So we decided that we would use this in between our workout days. So we go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, in theory, it sounds real good to like maybe run on the treadmill or do something. But we just needed some motivation, something different to try. So I got us this with hopes that we would use it. And we've used it for 3 days in a row. So,
Ooh,
hey,
nice.
hey.
What kind of exercises are there? Are they like
Yeah.
Pilates or are they not?
Well, I'm glad you asked one, Christine Steimer. Okay, so
Because it's a Pilates ring, which is why I ask.
Right. So to set it up, like Steimer said, you have this Pilates ring, I guess is what it's called. And how would you describe, like really like resistant but bendable plastic that you can push in or
Like
pull
a Thigh
out?
Master.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it is kind of like a Thigh Master.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's moldable plastic or slightly flexible but inflexible to give you some resistance.
Exactly. So the top of the ring con has a little slot for your right Joy-Con, and then your left Joy-Con you strap right above your left thigh, and it has a little pouch for it.
Like
and
a little garter.
Yeah, like a little garter, and you stick that on, and then you are ready to go, sweetie. Okay, so when you boot it up, you have 3 different modes that you can choose from, unless you consider multitasking to be a mode, but I'll get into that later. So you have the quick play, you have custom, you have adventure, and you have multitask. I'll talk about adventure at the end because I think that's the most exciting one, so I'll get these other ones out of the way. So you have quick play, and you have within quick play 3 other little mini different modes you can do: simple, mini games, or sets. So the simple are basically hold this ring in how many times can you pull this ring in 20 seconds? You know, and then it's like this tests your delts, or your dorsey muscles. Your, what are they called? The latissimus dorsi.
Dorsal.
Latissimus dorsi is what it says on the screen. Whatever. It's Nintendo. And so you have, you know, maybe like 10 or so different specific muscle groups that you can have little tests with. So it's okay. You got 20 seconds. How many times can you pull it out? How many times can you put, that's what she said. How many times can you like push it in? And then it tracks how many
That's what she said.
Yep. How many reps you do. And then at the end, it's like, okay, you did this many. We're going to record this for you. And you can, you know, join the leaderboard with other players if you want, so you can see how well you're doing. And obviously the goal is to improve over time. So that's if you just want to get in and get a quick, like, no bullshit, little mini, like, muscle movement going. And then they have the mini games, which are they're pretty silly, but they're cute. So, for example, there's the squattery wheel. And imagine like squattery wheel. So, you know how like pottery wheels work, right?
So
Imagine
you're doing
one of those
squats?
Yeah, okay. I'll try to explain this. So, a pottery wheel, I'm assuming we all kind of know what one of those is. You have it.
If you've ever watched Ghost, yes, you do.
Yes. Oh, Patrick Swayze. So beautiful in that movie. Anywho, you have a wet slab of clay, and to move up or down the clay, because what you want to do here is you want to match a photo that's been presented to you. So you want to form your slab of clay to look like this example photo.
With your thighs?
With your squats.
Oh
So imagine to move up or down on the slab of clay, you have to squat. So if you have to give it like an hourglass figure, you have to squat like halfway down, and then you have to squeeze the ring in. And then what's going to happen are these little things are going to come in from the side and start like chipping away at the clay. And then if you need to, let's say, like trim the top, then you have to stand up a little bit more and then squeeze the ring. And then the same would work if you need to give it like a narrow bottom. You squat all the way down, you squeeze in the ring, and then the clay like starts getting morphed.
That's
of course,
so weird.
By the time I was done, my clay looked like an abomination from hell, but I still got a B rating. So thank you, Nintendo, for encouraging me.
They're
But
like,
yeah.
you tried.
You tried. You did the thing. And then there's the one called the Thigh Rider.
Nice.
And for this, you sit on a couch or a chair or whatever you got, and you stick the ring con between your legs, well, between your knees. Well, your thighs, technically, I think is what they want, but it can be kind of awkward. And then your character is in a car that just auto moves on its own, and you have to squeeze your legs together. And when you do that, the car will jump in the air. And the idea is like a little platformer. The idea is to get coins, right? And if you squeeze and hold, then your car will just hover, and you can get like all the coins in a row that are like above the track. So that's just kind of an example of some of the mini games they have. Obviously, those are both leg related, but they have a lot of other ones. Like if you want to work your abs or your waist, you hold the ring con like a fan, and you kind of rotate from side to side, and you bat away discs or frisbees that are being thrown at you. So they're kind of silly, kind of cute. And then the last mode under quick play are called sets, and this takes about 5 exercises related to a particular area, and you just kind of like nail them one after the other. And so there's upper arm set, like a waist set, a glute, abs, yoga, aerobics, and et cetera, et cetera. So if you're like, I want to work my glutes today, then you just select the glute set, and then it has 5 different exercises pertaining to that muscle group, and you have X amount of reps, I think, to do. And then once that time is done, or it's either time related or rep related, I'm not sure. But either way, when you're done with that one, then you move on to the next exercise. So
you're doing only one set of each?
Yeah, one set of each exercise.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then you do all the whatever reps that are in between. So that's quick play. That's like you just want to hop in and do the damn thing.
Do something really quick. Yeah.
So do you feel
as
like
it's titled?
So do you feel like they were effective?
Yes. I mean, you're definitely, because here's the thing. So I work out 3 days a week, and I just do like machines and some free weights, right? So like the quick plays, these modes really aren't for me. What I like is the adventure mode, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But for what it's worth, Jason's been working out with the trainer for a year, and by the end of like fucking around with some of these modes, he was like sweaty and gross and sticky because, you're still working your body in a different way than I think we're used to doing. It's kind of like that different, get the heartbeat going in a different way. I definitely, like when I'm doing the exercise where you have to push the ring in, I'm definitely like, oh my God, by the end of it. It's because I'm not used to doing that particular exercise in my typical gym routine. And I can't say like I've been sore or anything like that, but in the moment, like the heart is definitely pumping and I'm feeling like I got noodle arms. So again, only 3 days into it. So not entirely sure like long term how it'll work.
Is it fun though? Because that's the whole idea, is that obviously the genesis for this isn't really to get ripped, right? Like that's I think a nice byproduct is to be able to like say, hey, I'm playing a video game and I'm actually like moving my muscles and getting my blood flowing instead of sitting on a couch. But that it's supposed to be designed to be fun. Like it sounds a lot like the old Wii fitness stuff.
The balance board and shit.
Yeah, I really liked that stuff. I thought it was fun.
Too.
It was hard to stick with because it got kind of boring and repetitive. But in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I was like, okay, now I've done the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. So personally, I don't think I'm going to be using the quick play because I feel like I get my reps and my weights, whatnot at the gym. But the thing I'm loving that's really fun is actually the adventure mode. So this is the thing we saw where, the person's like holding the ring and they're like running around and fighting enemies. So the story is you accidentally release a buff demon god thing named Drago, and he's a bad guy. And so you, the hero, have to stop said bad guy. So you first start up, you select your avatar, you can customize them kind of. I mean, you can change the hair color and the eye color and your skin color, but that's it. You're kind of stuck with like the fiery red, electric-y, bolty ponytail. Which is, It's cool. It's fine. And there are more than 100 levels. There are 20 worlds. And I'm only on world 2. So again, like maybe 4 or 5 levels in. And so, reading my notes here. Okay, yeah. So you start off and they're like, hey, do you want to do a quick stretch? And I'm going into detail about this because I think this Ring Fit Adventure is really good for people. We talked about this when it was first announced. Like, who would want to use this? Why would you want to use this?
Right.
And I think this is actually a really great fun way if you're new to exercise, or maybe you're not so new to exercise but you're looking for something kind of fun to supplement in between. This could be good because it really does like take care of you, and you can tell that a lot of thought went into it. So you start out and you can start with a stretch. You don't have to stretch, but if you do, you get experience points, which I'll talk about later.
Nice.
Like why those are, yeah, it's like a 1 to 2 minute long thing, nothing too fancy, but it definitely like, you know, gets you moving a little bit.
That's nice that they like encourage you to warm up, because you should. If you're working out at a gym, don't skip the warm up.
Yeah, exactly. So you have the overworld map, and think of it as like an old school, I guess Mario games still do this, where the levels are represented by little circles on the map, right? And you kind of move from like left to right. And each level has a level suggestion. So this does have a lot of RPG elements in it. So your character does level up by completing exercises, by fighting enemies. And when you do level up, your attack increases, as does your armor. And then eventually you'll get more heart containers. So I was level 4 and I tried to do a level 7 and I failed, not because like I was, you know, dying of, you know, lack of oxygen, but because the enemies were doing too much damage to me and I couldn't properly guard. And I'll get into more details about that. So you kind of want to pay attention to the level suggestion, and the way you do level up is by maybe replaying some levels, by doing the stretches before and after your workout, get those XP, and during the levels there are coins and other big like collectibles that will give you the XP boost. Okay, so you start a level. So what do? You hold the ring in front of you and you quite literally run in place. Now before you start a level, it's like, okay, you're going to do this level. We estimate this will take 5 to 6 minutes. You're going to run approximately a third of a mile, and you're going to get 2,000 experience points after you do it. Cool. And also worth noting, you can customize the exercises you do when you do battle these enemies. So let's say you have like bad knees and you can't, well, if you have bad knees, you shouldn't be doing this anyway. Let's say you have bad strength in your arms and you only want to do lower body exercises. You can customize the moves that you do to fight the enemy. So you hold your ring on and you just like quite literally start running in place, and your little character will like run in place. Well, not she won't run in place. She's running through this obviously very linear path that through the kind of like this enchanted little forest looking area. It's kind of like, you know, magical looking and whatnot. And as you're running, you know, the quicker you run in place, the quicker your character will run. And worth noting too, on the lower left of the screen, there's a timer that starts from the minute you start playing adventure mode until you quit. But the timer only counts when you're actually moving. So if you're taking a break or if you're like in a menu, it won't count that. So it's kind of interesting that you have that timer. It says, okay, I worked out for actually like 15 minutes or whatnot. So you're running. There's coins around you. You can, as you run, you can squeeze the thing in and it'll like poof out a blast of air, and you can use that to break boxes where you'll get coins for, or you can pull it and that'll cause like a vacuum, like a black hole of sorts, and coins will come to you. And if you squeeze the ring-con and point down, your character will jump. So that's kind of how you move around. And as you're running, you will come across enemies. Now, the fighting part is kind of silly, but it's really cute. So you come across like monster kettlebells and stuff like that. It's fucking adorable. And so at this point, you choose which exercise you want to use. And your options are limited in the beginning, but as you level up, you do unlock new exercises. And I just unlocked my first new exercise, and it's a front press. So essentially, like, you hold the ring con like at your like hips and you push in, and what it does is it does AoE damage, because sometimes you'll fight 3 enemies instead of 1. So you actually have to kind of get a little tactical with it and see like, okay, so I got 3 enemies here, I know this move does this, I do this move does that, but the moves have a cooldown, so you can't just like squat your way through an entire battle, right? Like, you have to
that would be amazing. Power squat,
let's go. And so each move has, I would say, like 15 or 16 or so reps per battle. So imagine you're like, okay, there's one evil kettlebell over there, I'm going to squat him to death. It's not exactly what happens. So you stand there and you pick the squat and you squat down, and then this little thing comes up on the screen. It says hold, and the hold meter starts filling, and then once it's filled, you stand up, and that's 1. And it's like hold, you go down, hold it, stand up 2. If you stand up too soon, it won't do anything. I'll say, hey, you did it too soon, then you have to start over. And the first like half of them are those slow reps, and then at the very, like, once you reach that halfway point, then it's like, okay, boom, 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 like you have to go fast. So it kind of changes it up in that sense. And then after you've done your turn and dealt your damage, the enemy will then attack you back. They're going to do damage, but you can guard, which will prevent or it'll lessen the amount of damage they do. So you hold the ring con against your abs, you squeeze it in, you kind of brace yourself, and then the enemy attacks you, and then you have to hold it until they're done, and then you let go, and then it's your turn to fight again.
Have you tried cheating on your squats? Because it's really only able to. It's only on your leg, right? Like, so have you messed around with it at all to be like?
I have, yeah. I've
what
tried.
are the limits of this thing?
Yeah. So I've tried doing squats that like weren't super deep, and then did squats that were really deep, and it deals about the same amount of damage. But you do have a little coach. His name is Tip. I think it's like TIPP, who's always kind of like encouraging you. Or it's your ring. The ring itself is alive, by the way, and it talks to you.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. And it's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because the ring does a really good job at encouraging you. It's like, okay, make sure you bend your knees. Make sure your knees don't go too far over your feet. And it shows you on the left.
That's good. It's giving you tips on like your form.
Yeah, and also on the far left of the screen, it shows you proper form constantly. It shows like cool. Like a drawn animation of someone doing it right. And it is nice. It's like, okay, 3 more, 2 more, 1 more. Great, you're doing awesome. You're doing such a good job. Rah. He's a good little friend.
Yeah, I'm great. Yeah.
I'm great.
I do the good squats.
You did the good squats. And so then the enemy fights back, and then you have to pick your next attack you want to do, and et cetera, et cetera. I've only done 1 boss fight, and that was about 8 minutes, I think, of like constant exercising. And like, I was like, ooh, this really does get the blood pumping. And you can adjust the difficulty, right? So I don't know what difficulty I'm at. I don't know which one Jason's at, but we have it pretty tuned in to like what will make us sweat. But you can always lower it. You can always increase it. Every time you start up a new session, it's like, hey, how did you feel last time? Do you want to lessen the difficulty? Do you want to increase it? And you can tell what you want to do. And it's good. And I think what that does is ultimately it makes it so you don't have to maybe hold as long. You don't have to deal as many attacks to damage the enemies, that sort of thing. You do collect coins throughout the game, and you can buy gear, which I think does increase your armor. So that's kind of like a fun little RPG thing. And then when you decide you're all done, you said, I'm done. And it says, cool, you should cool down. You cool down. And then it gives you a breakdown of all of the exercises you did for that session. It says, okay, you did 30 squats today. You did 15 knee to chest exercises. You ran in place for a quarter of a mile, that kind of thing. And yeah, I'm really surprised with how much fun it is. Like I said earlier, I think the quick play stuff is cool. Not really like my sucks. I feel like I get that resistance training like really in, at the gym. But running around in place and doing like these cool little aerobic exercises and doing what I want with, whatever I feel like doing that day in terms of like, do I want to work my legs or my abs or whatnot? It's a really good way for someone who does, exercise quite regularly to just kind of like do something different in between the gym days. And I think this is an excellent way for someone who is new to fitness or wants to get into fitness or just wants to move in general to get introduced to it, because it does a really good job at being gentle with you, telling you what you should do, what the form should be, giving you tips along the way. It gives you random tidbits of advice when it comes to nutrition and exercise as you're playing. And yeah, I'm really surprised. It's great.
Wow. I wasn't anticipating this in-depth of an analysis, but it sounds cool. How expensive are those ring cons again?
I don't know how much they are separately. I think the ring con in the game was 90.
Oh gosh, it's just like feels like so much.
Okay, $80. Sorry, I lied. It's $80 at Target right now and $70 at Walmart. So you might be able to get it cheap.
That's not bad. I mean, like in fairness, like most exercise gear is not cheap, right? A lot of specialty stuff like that is, around that same price. So I'm not saying it's, high price. I just we're like, oh, if it was like $40, I'd be like, cool, I'll try it. And I was like, I don't know, 80's just a little bit more cost prohibitive than I want it to be right now. I just feel like I am spending a lot of money on other fitness things that I need to utilize before I buy another fitness thing that I don't use.
It's always fun to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Then you actually use it.
The shopping part is great, you guys. I love shopping. It's the exercising part that's the hard part.
Yeah.
But no, it sounds cool. Maybe we should try it and do it together sometime. You can show me how to do some squattery.
Squattery pottery, baby girl. Squattery wheel. I'll show you how to work that squattery wheel.
Squattery wheel.
I hate the name. I hate the name so much.
It is weird. It's definitely weird. Okay, so over the break, I didn't play very much, actually. I continued playing more Darksiders Genesis and have been really enjoying it and having a lot of fun and can't wait to keep playing and keep going through. Really nails that RPG progression that I like about the Darksiders series, and the top-down gameplay is fun. I still want to play co-op. Haven't played a co-op yet. So, Britt, if you ever want to try that out, let me know. But I've been really enjoying it. Love the difference of the gameplay between War and Strife and all the different boss fights. And, like, the boss fights are no joke. Like, they take a lot of strategy, which is a nice change of pace for me because I know that there's a way to change the difficulty, but I haven't been able to find it in the Stadia settings.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, well, I guess I just gotta learn to be
Get
better
good.
at games. Okay, here we go. Because I was like, where's the baby mode? can't find it.
I'm happy you're enjoying it, though. I'm excited to hop in.
Yeah. I've been really liking it. And then, of course, playing more Luigi's Mansion 3, which I mentioned earlier. That game is just a delight.
Isn't it?
Just so
It's-
fun.
So
Really
good.
classic Nintendo. The graphics look great, and I love how like adorable Luigi is in Luigi's Mansion 3. So if you've been on the fence about getting it, highly recommend for your Nintendo Switch. But the thing I wanted to talk about was this really cool experience that I went to in Las Vegas at CES for HBO. And as I'm saying this, I'm remembering I was going to bring this little booklet that they gave me because it has info on it, and I have to run. No, I have to run and go get it.
There she goes. There she goes. There she goes again.
Andrea Renoy. You'll
Renoy.
be back someday.
Someday she'll come back with a book and she's gonna read from it.
Yeah, what was interesting, I don't know if you saw her Instagram stories when she was in CES, but I saw her posting about this dinner, and I think Trisha was there, Hirschberger, also friend of the show.
Yes.
I want to say Maud maybe was there too, Maud Garrett,
Oh,
who we
I
have
love
not had
Maud.
on the show yet, but we want to get on the show.
That's a crime.
And so I was just like seeing all these people talking about this dinner, and I was a little jealous, I have
You
to
got some
say,
FOMO
because
going on.
that was the only thing. I mean, I number one hate Vegas, as everybody knows, because I will tell anybody who asks. I think it's the worst place in the world. But if you're gonna have some weird, freaky dinner thing where you're actually, I don't know if I would have liked it, to be quite honest with you. It may have creeped me out a little too much because
Oh my god, I love you.
it might be like I'm not sure that I want somebody having basically PI'd me and like knowing all of this random stuff. I was giving them a little pre-brief because I saw your Instagram stories. I saw Trisha Hirschberger's Instagram stories, and I couldn't remember. I think Maud was there too. Yes.
She was at a different seating than I was at, but yes. There was
Okay,
a lot of different people who are content creators that were there. OMG, It's Firefox was also at our dinner. My friends, Jovenshire and Sohinki, were at the seating before me. I know that Ashley Esqueda from CNET was at the one after me. They did 3 separate seatings, which in and of itself is kind of crazy because I can't even imagine how much that cost HBO to put that dinner on 3 times. So my friend Chris Morris, who writes for a lot of big publications, Forbes, CNN, a bunch of people, was at the seating that I was at. And he said he got some additional information from HBO that there was a 600-page script for this dinner.
What?
And I was like,
Wow.
I was like, that is
It's like the size of the
bonkers.
script for Detroit Become Human.
I love you.
I feel like I remember David Cage saying it was 600 pages.
I mean,
Hold
it
on.
was...
Now I'm gonna Google it. Go ahead.
It was wild. So inside the show, Westworld, the company Delos is the one who kind of made the whole Westworld experience. And as we began to see in like the second season and kind of hints at in the first season, like the Western theme world isn't the only one that exists. There are like multiple experiences that you can go to. And I'm, interested to see where they're going to go with season 3. And so this is really kind of the first time that we're getting a deep dive into who Insight is. HBO put out a trailer for them, I think back in November, but we haven't really gotten much information except for the fact that they want your data and they want a lot of it. They didn't really give us much information. And if you guys aren't familiar with Westworld as a series, it is coming into their 3rd season. And the 3rd season launches sometime in 2020. I don't think we have a release date yet, but You guys may have seen that Aaron Paul is going to be part of the 3rd season, which I think is super exciting. According to the kind of like Google, like, you know, blurb about what it is, it's Westworld isn't your typical amusement park. It's intended for rich vacationers. The futuristic park is overlooked by robotic hosts that allow visitors to live out their fantasies through artificial consciousness. No matter how illicit the fantasy may be, there are no consequences. So, Westworld is this Western city and surrounding area. Think of it like an open world RPG where there's like little multiple places that you can discover, quests you can go on, NPCs that you can meet. But you're a real person, and all the people in the world look like real person, but they're actually like AI robots called hosts.
It's like Detroit Become Human.
It kind of is, yeah.
And also, I just looked it up, and it was actually 2,000 pages long, that script.
Yeah, so. I thought 600 sounded a little short for that game.
You know, it's close enough.
Yeah. You know, 600, 2,000, same difference.
Close.
But in the series, in the TV series, it turns very bloody in the 2nd season. In fact, it was one of the things that I did not like about the 2nd season is that there was just the body count was just too high. Lots of people got murdered because at the end of the 1st season, you know, the robots kind of like have this like awakening and like they like revolt against the fact that they've been put inside this world where they like die and are brought back to life, and every time
abused constantly.
Yeah, and so like their memories get wiped, but then some of them start remembering all of the things that the humans do to them. And of course, as you can imagine, humans go there to act out their fantasies that they can't get away with in the real world because it would be illegal. But it's just a robot, and so it kind of poses this bigger question of like, what is humanity? What makes you human? Very much like, you know, Detroit. And it's been a really great show, and I've really enjoyed it because it's got a bunch of sci-fi elements to it. So, at this dinner, like I had no idea what to expect, and we show up, and they, you know, kind of paired us at specific tables. So we have, it's like, you know, when you go to like a wedding, like you have a little place card, and they're like, oh, you're sitting at table number 5 or whatever. So Trisha Hirschberger and I were sitting at the same table, which was really cool because I got to catch up with her. And so she and I went to go, they had this little cocktail hour before the first seating. And so she and I kind of were sitting at the side cocktail table. And then this guy comes up to us, and he says his name is Dan, and he's going to be our host for the evening. And I was like, okay, you're definitely like one of them for sure. And he was just like, oh, you know, what was really interesting is they would introduce people and call people out by like very specific details. And when you're at a big event like CES, a lot of it is small talk and networking and, you know, kind of saying hello to people. Hi, this is where I work for. This is where I live. These are the brands that I've worked with, blah, blah, blah. That was not necessary at this dinner because the host took all the guesswork right out of it. They're like, oh, this is Andrea Renee. She runs What's Good Games. You know, she's based in Los Angeles. And it's like, oh, this is Trisha Hirschberger. She works with Geek and Sundry. And, you know, all these things. And it's just like, this is like, okay, a little odd. But I was like, you could easily get all of these details off of my LinkedIn profile. Like, it's not like I'm keeping this top secret.
You just did a little homework. Yeah.
Yeah. But then as the night went on, it became like the layers went like a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper. And I kept kind of being like, I had to go back and search my brain to be like, when did I publicly post about that thing? Did they go like deep into like my Facebook vault and like find something from like 2009 or something? I don't know. There was one of the guys that was at our table that apparently is really into astronomy photography. But it's not what he writes about. He's a science tech writer. And it's just like they kept just like dropping these like little nuggets about people at the table, about their kids or about their parents or about their hobbies or things like that. And what was really fascinating about it is not only was it incredibly impressive from the standpoint of, wow, did HBO's team really do their research on literally every single person that was invited to the dinner? But they also planted fake people at some of the tables. So we had a fake host at our table, and we didn't suss it out until about halfway through the dinner. Because like he was super convincing in the beginning. He was like, "Oh, I'm a librarian," and I was like, "A librarian? Like, what are you doing here at CES?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm here to talk about digital preservation and technology around preservation." And I was like, "That seems completely legitimate."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Actually, I'm really fascinated by that. I would love to talk to you about digital preservation and what you've been learning and blah blah blah." And I think that's when he was like, "Please don't."
She was like, "Oh no,
She's a talker.
Why? Yeah, well, I should have said something else about beetles. I don't know."
Beatles.
Yeah. It was funny because Chris said that at his table they had a plant that said that he was in the gaming industry, and I was like, "Oh no, that poor actor. Why did
Poor
they give
sweet
him
summer
that?"
child.
I'm like, we're gonna suss that out right away.
Oh yeah.
But it was fun, kind of like.
Wait, but I thought that they gave you like individualized menus.
Yeah, they did. So normally when you go to any kind of group dinner like that, because there was about 50 people at this dinner, and we were all in individual, so like 10 tables of varying like 5 to 10, depending on how many people were at each table. But everybody had like a customized menu. It was a 3-course customized menu. A lot of the desserts were the same, but like nobody else at my table had my appetizer or my entree. So they gave me a burrata caprese as my appetizer and a lobster bucatini as my main. And I mean, it was fabulous. We were at the Nomad restaurant in Las Vegas. And after they dropped the plates, the host came back around and said, "Oh, we love that you traveled to Italy, so we wanted to make sure to give you an Italian-inspired dish." And I was like, "What?
Whoa.
You trolling my Instagram? What's going on? This is weird." I mean, I hate it, but I like it. And this is kind of connects back to what I was talking about with all the smart home stuff that's happening in tech right now and that we saw on Showcase at CES. I was like, I like the idea that you tailored it to me because you spied on me, but I don't know if I like the idea that you spied on me. But like, I really love this meal, and you gave me something I wanted based off me showcasing things that I've wanted that are related, right? And I think that's where like sales and technology is going. And in the game, Insight, has these layers upon layers of like the money that they make and how they tailor the custom experience for clients inside Westworld. And it was really, really fascinating. And at the end of the evening, they brought us all these like what would look like a check presenter. So it's like a black folio that I'm holding. This black, like it looks like leather. I don't know if it's like real leather or not. It's probably like pleather, hopefully. On the back of it, it's got the new Westworld logo. So it's just Westworld with these 3 bars, which on the table, by the way, the 3 bars were like a lighting centerpiece. And Trisha very astutely noticed that as soon as the dinner started, that all of their social media changed over to this new logo, which I thought was interesting. So if we open it inside the folio, it just says Insight Las Vegas. It's got my initials, AR, for Andrea Renee, stamped on it, like engraved on this thing. So I was like, okay. And then they gave us what would look normally like a bill, but instead it says my name, my birth date, my occupation, which is content creator and co-founder of What's Good Games. And then it has my life expectancy. So everybody had different life expectancies.
Oh, geez.
I was the oldest at my table, which I was very excited about. My life expectancy is apparently, according to Insight, 98 years, 10 months, and 14 days.
What? Well, good for you, man.
Yeah. I was like, cool, sweet. This sounds awesome. Oh,
I think I saw Mods was like 49.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No.
So
OMG
like, Firefox's was 51. She was like, what the hell?
Oh, no.
I'm like, gotta start living life now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So weird. Did they just randomly calculate that?
I don't know. So they have a couple more things. So in the middle was kind of like a fortune almost. Mine says, don't be surprised when what's good becomes great. A powerful partnership is about to be offered.
Ah, shit.
HBO, are you giving us some money? Because that's the only thing I could think of.
I was going to say Chipotle, but I'll take HBO 100%.
HBO would be a much better partner.
And so then
Chipotle.
it says, your data is the key to unlocking your potential. With the power of insight, you too can find your path.
Oh, fucking incredible.
Yeah. So then they have this website, Insight Inc. And so I went to the website, which I'm pulling up now. And they gave me this thing called a strategy engine sequence. And so if you go to insightinc.com, it says, if data is destiny, then you chart the path. It says, the world can feel chaotic, big problems, no solutions, no one to lead the way. Global issues may seem so complex that untangling the answers feels impossible. Here at Insight, we want to make impossible a thing of the past. Chaos is merely a pattern waiting to be uncovered. You can help us chart a better future.
Powered by us all of your personal data.
Exactly. Powered by our revolutionary strategy engine, we are able to calculate sophisticated solutions to problems large and small, from global climate change to personal career growth. We believe we have a personal responsibility to make the world a better place, starting at home. Here at Insight, your data doesn't work for us, we work for you.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Intense, man.
I don't even know what to do.
Wow.
So I'm going to keep this, though, because I don't know if this strategy engine sequence is going to be worth anything in the future or what's going to happen with it. But, I mean, it was super cool. And I was already excited for Westworld Season 3. And this just, like, makes me really interested to see how they're going to go. Because there was, I mean, I don't want to spoil the end of the last season if you guys didn't catch up or if you want to catch up. But, like, they have to go in a different direction based off like the events that happen. And I'm really excited to see like where they go and dive deeper into like, you know, the world of the host and like where this AI comes from and all that. So a big thank you to HBO for inviting me to come out. It was a one of a kind experience that I'll never forget.
That's crazy. It sounds like very intense, kind of stressful, but an interesting social experiment.
Yeah, indeed. Definitely interesting seeing people play off of each other once you find out like key little tidbits about people that they probably normally would have kept hidden, right? And maybe never have said at a dinner, like a networking dinner like that. And like how it makes people react and what they feel comfortable talking about publicly and what they don't, and what data they're sharing willingly and what data they're not. So
I mean, if I'm not willingly sharing data, you better not bring that up at a fucking dinner.
No, that was
hat.
No, it's funny. It's funny. What's funny about you saying that, Steimer, is that at the end of the dinner, this woman who was like the overall host did this presentation, and she called out this one girl, which we all knew right away it had to be fake because there's no way that they would have done this to like a real journalist or an influencer. They called her out and said she applied for this job. And they showed the job she applied for, and they showed the email where she applied, and they're like, this is the response that she got, saying that she didn't get the job. But perhaps if she had done this, maybe this could have been different for her. But this is how Insight can help your career path. And then they kind of like dug into her a little bit, and the girl just starts full on crying at the dinner table. And that's when I was like, this is definitely fake. I feel bad for her, but I know it's fake, and she's crying as part of the bit because, like, whoa, HBO would never actually do that. They wouldn't have access to her private Gmail account, right? And like show her emails up on screen in front of a room of strangers. That would be fucked up.
Crazy.
That would be crazy. Yeah.
Was it awkward? Like, did people at first think that it was real?
I think some people around her thought it was real because she was really convincing, but I was across the room, and I mean, you ladies know.
You had the bird's eye view. You were like, wait a minute.
Listen, I also was several glasses of champagne deep by the end of that meal.
God, I can hear you now. She needs to toughen up. If she doesn't want her she shouldn't post it.
That wasn't me. That was me being like, motherfuckers, it's illegal to show her private information on screen. I was like, this is not right. This has got to be fake. They would never do this. It's against blah, 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 blah. I was just like finger wagging Andrea.
Oh, my God.
But so I was like, I didn't even find out that she was crying until afterwards. And then I like looked at her and I was like, oh my God, her face is like all red and shit. She's at this dinner table, poor girl. And then I was like, she's getting paid
to cry.
She's getting paid.
She a real good crier.
God, that's funny.
But yeah, it was cool. It was fun trying to like suss out all of the other like plants, who was a host and who wasn't. It helped that like almost everybody at that dinner has a social media presence, and so when we were taking like table photos and stuff, we were tagging everybody. If someone was like, oh, I'm not on Twitter or whatever, and we're like,
Yeah.
Sure you're not. You wouldn't be invited here if you didn't have a Twitter.
Yeah, it's like, listen, you're gonna either have a Twitter, an Instagram, a Facebook. You're gonna have something if you're working in, gamer tech media, because it's just it's a necessary part of being somebody.
Also, how would they have trolled any of your information to find out what you wanted to eat at this dinner?
Look at you.
If you didn't have a social media account.
Yeah.
Detective Steimer at your service.
I would have ruined this dinner along with you, Andrea.
That would have been, I would have loved to
You
have
and
seen
me would have been
there.
the most annoying little people at the dinner. We would have been like, detective hats on, champagne down.
Can't
Let's
people just
go.
enjoy things?
No,
I
we
know.
Can't. We can't.
I tried to go along. I did go along with it for as long as I could. It was funny because afterwards, I don't know who it was. It was either Trisha or somebody else at the table. It's just like, you were asking all like the most like poking questions, and cause I wanted to see how far their script went. I wanted to see like how far I could push the improv.
I want to reach the end of the game.
Yeah. I was like, how long is this quest log gonna go for?
Oh my God.
But it was really, really well done.
I'm waiting for you to loop, dude. Haven't you ever played an RPG? Just tell me to come back later.
Exactly. Oh my God. Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah, man. Anyway, that was I wanted to just talk about it because it was such a cool experience. So, but Steimer, you played a bunch of stuff over the break.
I did, but I feel like, maybe I'm just having weird deja vu, or maybe I just only told you guys, but I feel like I talked about it, but I guess maybe I haven't. My sense of time has been a little bit warped because of the break, because I had 2 weeks off of my other job, and so now, and this is the first week back, so everything's a little discombobulated up there in my brain. But I finished Outer Worlds, Jedi Fallen Order, and then Life is Strange. I feel like there was something else, but I
After
don't
party?
remember. It was it was After Party. Okay, yeah. So I finished all of that over the break. And I mean, of those, Outer Worlds was far and away my favorite.
Did you like
that
it?
Would surprise anybody. I did, and I especially appreciated that the game was not 90 hours long. It was the exact correct amount of time for me. I felt like it kept its pace fairly well. I was never like, what am I doing again? Like, huh? Because sometimes you get that way after Skyrim. I definitely got that way. I completely forgot about the main quest. Had no idea what I was supposed to do.
Yep.
I was like, I don't know, dragons or something, and I shout at people, and then things happen. But yeah, so I really loved it, and I would love to see them explore the world more because I found it really fascinating. I think I got one of the best endings, which I won't say what it was, but I think I did a pretty bang up job out there in outer space. And I don't really know. My brain is a little bit failing me right now because I've been listening to you guys
talk about
really random things, and so then I was like, oh, okay, Ring Fit Adventures. Oh, okay, random privacy invasion dinner. Cool.
I'm happy you liked the Outer Worlds. I mean, I think we all kind of figured you would, but I think a lot of people went into it, I'm gonna love it, and then some people walked away with, it didn't live up to my expectations.
I think my expectations were right on par with what it was. I knew what I was going to get. I knew what I wasn't going to get from it, and therefore I had a great time. And again, I just think it was like the perfect size RPG for me. This is the amount of RPG that I can play at this point in my life.
Do you know how many hours you clocked in?
I think it was around 30.
Oh yeah, okay.
Or maybe a little under 30, but it was roughly there. And yeah, that was like, that's perfect. And I did most of the side quests. I think I didn't do like one, which was like, go get some fucking outfits and then put them on for this person.
I did not do that at all. I was like, no way.
I don't, sorry.
That was the one I skipped too. I was like, no, thank you. It's too fetchy.
I was irritated. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you about Jedi Fallen Order, so go ahead.
My one irritation is so stupid and minor. It was like on the quest log, it basically, I forget the word that they use, but it implies you fail like a quest. It was botched.
Oh, yeah.
Botched quest. I was like, I did not botch this quest. I actively chose to not do this quest. Or I thought that this person was a piece of shit and I didn't want to help them. Like that is not botching it. I did not botch it.
Agency.
How dare you? Don't tell me that I fucked up when I did it.
Yeah. You tell him, Steimer. No, I got a botched quest too at one point, and it bugged me so much that I reloaded a save so it wouldn't be botched. It just bugged me.
But there was somewhere I'm like, I had to botch it. I had to botch it because the other thing that I chose to do overrided the other one, right? Like it was, you pick one or the other, and I picked the other, and then it was like botched, and I was like, I hate you.
Fuck you. So I remember when you started Jedi Fallen Order, it sounded like you were pretty lukewarm on it. Did you warm up as you finished it, or did you stay pretty much the same?
It's pretty much lukewarm up until the end, which got a little. I mean, there were definitely like warmer parts, but
warmer parts of the pool.
Warmer parts of the pool.
Oh, that's
but
gross.
For the most part, yeah, there were definitely pee patches in there. And
Gross.
Yes, I love you. Yes.
But yeah, it was sort of a weird experience for me, especially coming off of seeing everyone on social who really loved it and who was talking about it being their personal game of the year. And I just felt it was fairly mediocre across the board in terms of execution, art, everything. And again, not saying it's bad, but to me, I was like, if this is the best, this is a sad year. And we like also the motherfucking sliding. If there is another Star Wars game that Respawn makes and they include sliding, I'm going to kill someone at that studio. I just can't. God. I was about
Let's
ready
get that company insurance, Andrea.
Yeah. I was flabbergasted at the amount of sliding in this game. And I was like, this is a shit mechanic. It doesn't go well, and you're putting it everywhere. Stop it. He doesn't need to slide down a damn mountain. He just does it. He's a fucking Jedi. I was so irritated.
I understand your frustration. I did think the sliding mechanic was really fun in very specific places and very unnecessary in others, but I think when you look at the way they did some of the level design, it was either them doing something fun like sliding or giving you like a shitty elevator.
I'll take an elevator any day of the week. But only because, again, it took me a long time to get through some of that sliding stuff because you fall off the edge constantly. And again, for when you fall off the edge, it does do the instant reload, thank God, except, so there's one really long sliding section in one part of the game, and I almost threw my controller because the checkpointing is god awful in this game. So even if you accidentally like fall off at the end at the edge of the world, like towards the end of this giant sliding section, you go all the way back to the beginning.
Oh no.
Even though there's definitely a couple parts in there that could have been checkpoints. Like there's a couple jumps you have to make that could have been checkpoints. They could have just bumped you back there. No. You get to do the whole thing over again. Aren't you excited about it? Aren't you excited to slide for 50 hours in this game? They should call it Jedi Sliding Order. Yes.
Oh, I like your version better. It's more on brand.
It was just I don't know. The game was
proud
fine.
Of you, though.
I liked the I thought that there's a bit at the end that I thought was very well done. Hats off there. But otherwise I was just like, okay.
I'm happy you finished it.
There's elements to this that are good.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I am blindingly frustrated by some of the stuff they chose to do.
Well, you did it. I'm proud of you. You stuck with it. And now it's over.
It is over. Thank goodness.
Well, you were a busy little gamer girl over the break.
Yeah, well, then I cleaned my whole house and I read a bunch of books. Had a good break.
Didn't you finish some Dragon Age books? Didn't I see some Instagram story? Weren't you reading?
Was not Dragon Age.
Oh.
No, I finished a book series that I actually have talked about on the show before. The last one, I forget it's like the, I want to say
was there like a dragon, or did I make that up? I thought I saw Dragon Age. But, that might just be my mind.
You did make that up. It was Dark Dawn. I think
absolutely not Dragon
probably thought, it does look, I could see why you would think it was a little Dragon Age-y based on the cover. The cover art could be mistaken for such, so okay, I don't blame you for that. But no, I did finish. I finished the Nevernight Chronicle, the final book in that. It was very good. I really enjoyed the series, and even The last book I was getting like a little bit irritated with the main character. I was a little sick of her, but they do turn it around midway through the book. And I was like, oh, okay, we're good now. We're fine. We're fine. But she's just one of those characters that is sort of inherently selfish and can kind of be that's part of what she's purposely written that way, but at times you're just like,
go away. Yeah.
Just stop it.
Stop it.
Stop. Yeah. Anyways.
Good job, Steimer. You did
it. That was me in a very tiny nutshell because I know how long we've been recording already.
Wow.
What are you talking about? It's only been like 20 minutes.
Oh.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Time is not a real construct.
Well, I'm glad that you finished all those games. I still need to finish the Outer Worlds. I think my problem is I'm doing too many side quests before I'm supposed to. Like, I go out exploring and then like I pick up the quest later for them to send me back to the place that I went to find on my own.
Oh, that's so irritating. Yeah, I always try and like pick up as much stuff. I pick up as many things as possible where like you hit the first hub world, you talk to everybody, you get all the quests, and then that way whenever you go out anywhere, you don't need to go back and forth so much.
I think Outer Worlds also did a good job though. If you did find the quest item,
yes,
they would somehow incorporate it into the conversation, whereas sometimes like nothing would flag until you actually accepted the quest, and that's annoying.
Yeah,
that is annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, how about we take our final break for the show, and when we come back, we talk about games we like to play when we're drinking, something our patrons know a lot about. Stick with us, everybody. We'll be right back. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the final segment of the What's Good Games podcast. And this segment is brought to you by patreon.com/whatsgoodgames, where every month you can help vote on what you'd like us to chat about. So because of the holidays, we weren't able to get our Patreon produced segment in December. So we're going to do that this week, and then we'll have another Patreon produced segment near the end of the month, voted on by, of course, our patrons at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. So this month, Brittany, what did the fine folks vote on?
They voted on what's the best game to play after consuming adult beverages. This was submitted by Cammie on Patreon. Cammie, I don't think you talk that way. You probably don't. That was just me being obnoxious. So anywho, yeah, so this was selected by her, and our community as a whole decided that they wanted us to talk about this, which, like you said before the break, I think is something we're all very familiar with.
I mean, I only really... No, for me, no. I mean, I don't like sit at home and drink and play games.
But you drink and play games at least once a month with us.
Yes, with you guys I do, but that's pretty much the only time.
I mean, it's been doing this for about 3 years now, 2.5 years. We're getting you seasoned. Okay, I'll start.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, Brittany, you start, because I was like, gosh, well, where do I begin?
So, the very first game that I found I play better when slightly intoxicated is Guitar Hero. Now, there's a very fine line here. So, as I had my first adult beverage at the old age of 19, and that was right around the time when Guitar Hero was super popular, and it was at all the parties, the college parties and whatnot. And I found that after a few Keystone Lights or Keystone Ices, the really cheap beer.
Ah, nice.
That my skills with Guitar Hero got really good. But like I said, there's that fine line where once you have a little too many, then it's just a shit show. Then
it's sort of like the Uncanny Valley thing. Like it's good. It's good. No.
Oh, exactly.
It drops.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if it's because after a few drinks, you're kind of more like chill and you're able to just like watch it and like become one with the notes. I don't know. But my skills would go up, and then I would ultimately like just tank. But that's what you do. When you're young, you drink too much, and then you suck at Guitar Hero. There's your teens in a nutshell.
If that's the worst you're doing, that's pretty good.
You're doing pretty good. Yeah, so
Amazing.
I would say for sure Guitar Hero. Granted, I haven't had drinks and played Guitar Hero in a while because playing Guitar Hero actually makes me kind of dizzy now because I'm an old bitch. But I'll try it again one of these days and see how good I do.
Youngest person on the show, everybody.
I don't care. Steimer, I'm old.
Thanks.
You're not old. You're not old, okay?
Does anyone else have one?
Oh,
or-
oh, sorry.
Yes,
I thought
sorry. I thought there was more.
Yeah.
I have more, but I'm not gonna. I'll wait.
Oh yeah,
okay,
no, sure.
We'll
So
round robin it.
I had my first adult beverage at the ripe old age of 15. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, girl. Yes.
Listen, in North Dakota, like it's how we stay alive in the winter. All right, we have to have alcohol coursing through our
That's fair.
veins.
Yeah. Then that blood.
But I wasn't drinking and playing games in high school. I did do a little bit in college. My roommate Liz and I had a really funny memory when we were playing Super Mario 64 and drinking beers. And there's do you guys remember those, like, I don't know if it's what's the name of the brick guys that like drop on you?
oh god, Womps or
Womps,
something?
I think that's it. But they walk around in Mario 64 in one place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Super Mario Womp.
I just remember we both got like so drunk, and then she just kept saying, "I want rocks for feet" over and over again, because they have like their feet are rocks, and it was like this like moment that somehow just stuck with me forever. I actually don't play that much Mario when I'm drinking because platforming turns out is difficult when your motor function is impaired. But I also
that whole depth perception's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's no bueno. I did play a lot of Guitar Hero and Rock Band with adult beverages. I also went to a lot of bars. You guys have maybe heard me tell the story about the Rock Band 2 reality show that I was cast on. It was because I was competing in a Guitar Hero competition in a bar here in the Los Angeles area called Big Wangs that serves, as you guessed it, chicken wangs. And they used to do a tournament every Tuesday night where if you won the Guitar Hero tournament, you got a $100 bar tab. And when you're like a struggling wannabe on-camera person in LA, $100 buys a lot of wings and beer. So my friend Chuck and I would go every week and, have some drinks and play. And then I'd be like, "Oh, are you guys playing Rock Band? Is this Guitar Hero? Can I play too?" And then I would just crush everybody. So I took a lot of personal joy out of doing that. By the way.
Good party trick.
Yeah, exactly. I hustled them. But it was it's fun. I think it's a different experience when you're out playing games at a bar and consuming versus being at home, because obviously I tend to consume more when I'm at home and I'm not driving and out in public. And Brittany and I have had a couple of fun experiences.
I mean,
it's interesting because I know the question was, what do you like to play when you're consuming adult beverages? But like that was a really funny night when we had been drinking whiskey, too much whiskey, and it's Solid Snake Ocelot's fault for providing us with such delicious whiskey.
It's never our fault.
That was when Death Stranding, we had the pre-release code. I think this is Steimer when you were still in Europe.
I wasn't there. I don't remember why I wasn't, but I wasn't there. I think I was at home.
Yeah, I think you were at home.
Maybe it was one of those nights where you had to like work really late and you couldn't come over. I don't remember why you. I don't know. There.
It was just I was not there.
But yeah, so we started playing the game together, and man, oh man, I don't know if I would recommend that game when you're really intoxicated on whiskey.
No. Oh no. I barely remember you gave me the controller at one point, and John was yelling at me because I kept stumbling over to the left and the right, and I couldn't navigate the map, and it was all so much so soon. So
a balance challenge when you're inebriated is maybe not a good combo.
Not good. So when I came home, I started all over. I'm like, okay, I have to play this with a sober mind. Is that the same night I made you like a hooker or something in Red Dead Redemption Online?
Yes. So we were testing out Google Stadia, and Red Dead Redemption 2 was one of the titles that we could play. And because it was a brand new account on Stadia, I didn't have my Red Dead Online character. And so I was like, "Brittany, make me pretty." And so she made me a character that was an exhausted alcoholic.
Oh, that's
and like I have like these super like sunken in eyes, like dry skin. They're like kind of glassy. It was really, really funny.
You were beautiful. Yeah, I think some of my favorite times playing games has been with you ladies during our streams, like whatever it is we're playing. It's always a good time, especially Steimer during like scary games. It's like a really good time.
So do you remember? So way before What's Good ever existed, I went to your house when you lived in a different place.
Oh yeah.
And we played Until Dawn drunk. Mm-hmm. And I think we played it till like 3 a.m.
Yeah, it was from start to finish.
We start to finish that game in one go. And that was pretty fun to do. And the drinking made it both better and worse.
All those quick time events. Oh no.
Yes.
It did not
we
end
killed
well.
more people. Yeah, so sorry. Rest in peace.
I'll never forget there's the time too when we had to hold completely still, and I think you in a panic like threw the controller on the desk and then it vibrated.
Yes.
And it caused it to move.
I thought I was being really smart. I was like, oh, smart drunk me. I'll put the controller on the desk. And then it vibrated and killed the person. And I was like, shit. Forgot about the vibrate.
I know. Oh, then we killed. I don't remember who it was. But we did kill someone, and it was sad.
It was Sam. She died there.
I think also a really fun memory is when we, not this past Christmas, but the year before in the old studio, we were all playing Human Fall Flat, and we were all in our little Christmas onesies, and I just remember being so tipsy. And we were playing like Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus.
Yes,
I Believe I Can Fly. Like, all sorts of songs. That was really fun too.
That's because I remember Andrea making us those drinks, and I drank it, and it wasn't very much. And I was like, Andrea, I think I'm drunk already. Why am I drunk already? And you're like, all of that is alcohol. There's nothing else in there.
Oh yeah, there were those little grasshopper things or whatever they're called.
Yeah, it was funny.
Oh,
I was like, oh yeah, that'd do it.
Yeah.
But for me, in line with the Guitar Hero thing, it has a bell curve there to a point. But it's competitive games. So competitive shooters are a thing that I will only enjoy if I have had a beverage or two, and that's probably it, because otherwise I'll be really bad at them. But I need the beverage to get me over the hump, over the anxiety or the fear of playing against other people. And when I do that, then I do have a really great time. I think I've drunk played Destiny with you, Andrea, before the Crucible, and that was a great old time.
Oh man, it's fun because you lose the inhibition and you lose like the desire to like actually be competitive. You're like, I'm just running around wreaking havoc, and that's the fun part. And I don't really care what my like KD is. I'm just like,
but mine gets so much better. It gets, I'm not terrible if I'm, again, it's the right, you need the right amount.
Right.
The right amount for this formula is very crucial.
There is a tipping point.
Because otherwise it'll tank. But like for a bit there, I'm like, you're dead. You're dead. All right, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So funny.
So that for me is actually one of the things. I mean, you can't be wicked wasted. I don't know if there's any game where I'm smashed and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Maybe it has to be like a Human Fall Flat. Like it's something where it's so ridiculous to begin with that you're just mostly laughing at the screen.
Yeah, you can't play anything that's super story heavy because you'll forget it. It won't make sense. I typically don't. When I'm just playing a single player game, I think the last time I drank while playing a single player game was when I was finishing Before the Storm. Life is Strange Before the Storm, and I knew shit was going to go down, and I kicked Jason, I kicked Reb out of the room. I'm like, I'm going to pour myself a tall glass of whiskey, and I'm going to sob to myself and drink this. And I did.
Oh, Brittany, no. So sad.
It was so sad, but typically I don't drink when I'm by myself because I'll get sleepy, and then I fall asleep, and it's not good. But yeah. It's fun to drink while playing something cooperatively or like during the streams and stuff like that. It's a good time.
Yeah, I find it difficult to actually drink enough quickly to actually feel inebriated when I'm playing by myself because your hands are on the controller. And unless you're playing a game that has a lot of cutscenes, there's no time to like pick up your glass and drink because you're holding the controller and playing.
Beer hats. Have you never heard of those?
Oh, yeah.
I guess in addition to the edible underwear for the next stream, which we forgot about that now hasn't happened in the January streams, we need to get beer hats.
Okay,
Yes.
so beer hats while
What if we got
eating.
some little like champagne glasses with the beer hats? You're like drinking some
Okay.
champs.
Okay.
That's
Shams?
seems intense.
Drinking some champs,
but I'm down.
Eating some panties.
Watching
Let's
Fortnite
have a great stream.
That
Did
sounds
we
great.
mention we have fun on our Patreon streams? If you guys have never joined us for one, even if you just want to jump in for a month, maybe January is the month you want to do it for. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It's going to be a good one.
We want to welcome all these new patrons in with open arms to be like, this is what you've been missing. Us eating edible underwear and drinking champagne out of a hat.
It better be good. It better be like a fruit roll up, or I'm going to be so disappointed.
Do you have any sex shops near you that we can go to and get these?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great.
She's already scouted. We're fine.
We're
Well,
good.
there's this one that I
beer
drive
hats
by
we may need from
'cause it's not
Amazon.
far from where our mailbox is, where our pickup is. And so I see it all the time as I go to check the UPS box, and I'm just like, every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, we're supposed to go there.
Field trip.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I feel like I need to
Oh
like
my
put it in the
gosh.
calendar so we don't forget next time.
I'll do it right now so we don't forget.
We did have a lot of fun playing Overcooked when we were drinking on the streams too,
God.
because
But
it just gets so
Overcooked is what-
chaotic. You just yell the whole time.
But that's the
Yeah.
problem. I feel like it's a bad game to play for that reason, unless you're okay with it potentially permanently damaging your relationships with other people.
That's
So that was the
fair,
at your
that's
own
fair.
risk drinking game.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to think of anything else we played that's been particularly fun. But I think for the most part, it's just been.
The problem is we're always drinking, so it kind of gets
That's also
blurry.
it gets, my brain doesn't work very well anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
when you add the alcohol on top of it, it just gets real fuzzy.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Brain fails, man. Brain
I think
fails.
Mario.
The first time
I was gonna say I
Oh,
think
Mario
Mario Kart
Kart.
is super fun to play
Mm.
with a group, particularly battle mode, which I love.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, so in college,
Oh, here we go.
I know, like way back in my day, I don't remember what this game was. It came with the Wii. My roommate had a Wii, and we would drink, and it was like a cow throwing game. It must have been rabbits, raving rabbits of some kind. I don't remember. There was
Wait,
something with cows.
was it Raving Rabbit's TV party?
Maybe.
Because I played
You're
the shit
throwing
out of that
cows?
game when I was drunk,
I've-
and it's hysterical.
Yeah. So I think any raving rabbits game is probably a good bet as well.
Oh, yeah, and the
Because they're
Jackbox
just
games.
They're just goofy,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and you're
Good
just
times.
like, what? Wii controller.
Waggling
Great.
shit.
Yeah.
Ah,
They're all one-handed, so you can drink with one and smack somebody with the other.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man,
it
I
was
don't even know where my
ingenious.
Wiimotes are. That's the sad part.
Those things were expensive.
I know. They're like in a box somewhere.
Yeah.
That's where most things end up. In a box somewhere.
Yep.
Mm,
It's the truth of life.
in a
It's like
box
Toy
somewhere.
Story, but with peripherals.
Peripheral story.
Oh. Yeah,
I'm trash!
Oh, Forky.
Forky is so good.
He's so great. Well, thank you so much for submitting the question. If you guys have games that you love to play while enjoying some adult beverages, please let me know and let us know by leaving a comment below, by leaving us a post on our Patreon page, by tweeting to us at What's Good _games. Maybe you want to drop it in the What's Good Games Facebook fan page. Wherever you are, we'd like to hear from you. And thank you so much to everybody who voted on the poll for this month's, or I should say last month's segment. Don't forget, we have another segment coming up later this month and so much more at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. Also, if you guys remember, remind me to tell you about the pinball pro tips I learned at CES next week.
Oh. Okay.
Because I did this whole pinball thing that was also, I believe, on my stories. It was on a live stream. It was a thing. It happened. Anyway, this show's been long enough already, and I still have to edit it tonight. So, without further ado, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.